Hey everybody, and welcome to a special Wild Ride where we're talking to arguably the greatest mixed martial artist of all time. Yeah, that's right. Plus, probably the nicest mixed martial artist of all time. This guy is a legend, so let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, George St-Pierre. Yeah, dude. Now, I'd like you to meet my co-host, Scott Randolph.
How's it going, George?
And
Hi, how are you? Good?
Good.
very well, right on. And up at the front of the van, we have the gorgeous Paul Brisske.
Hey, George, how are you?
Fantastic. Thank you.
Good to see you.
Before we do anything, let's wish the man a happy birthday. He's talking to us on his birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thanks. Yeah, for 40 years old. My goodness.
The big 4-0.
Yeah. Big 4-0. Exactly. But you know what? Everything is closed here. So there's like a curfew. The restaurants are closed. Everything is closed. The gyms are closed. So there's nothing to do really much. So it doesn't really matter to me. You know what I mean? So I just, my mom gave me a cake and that's about it.
Okay.
All right, well, this will be your birthday party.
I don't quite understand why.
Yeah, exactly. I'm doing my birthday party with you guys.
I love
It's
it,
an
man.
honor.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Is that a George St-Pierre?
That's epic.
Sorry.
But, so why is everything closed, man? The world's opening up, dude. I got my second vaccination shot. You know, like...
Well, it's because we're always behind you guys in Canada. Well, I'm from Montreal, so we're always late. What you guys have, we always have it late. So it sucks, but that's how it is, you know, I guess. We're always a few months behind you guys.
Okay, so everything's been locked down for the whole time.
Yeah, they announced that it will open June in June, but only the outside
Patios.
like, seating areas for the restaurant.
Okay.
That's crazy. Quick question. If you
Yeah,
were,
man.
after a fight, you get seriously injured, would you rather go to a Canadian hospital or an American hospital?
Ooh, that's a good question.
American. When I blew my 2 ACL, I went to US, and the reason is yes, in Canada the health system
It's free.
the healthcare system is accessible to everybody, every citizen. However, they treat everybody the same. So a professional athlete, for example, my body is my instrument of work. So I will have the same treatment as a 70 years old lady. So that's why I went to US, because in US you pay for it, but you can have special treatment in order to rehab better and faster.
Okay.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, you know, like nobody has to pay for healthcare in Canada, but you know, you get the same medical care as some fucking asshole.
Some schmo off the street.
And you know what? You wait a very long time. Let's say you go to normally you go to for like something to the hospital. You have to wait for a very long time. So yeah, there's some advantages, but there's some bad issues with it as well.
Yeah, your appendix explodes and you're there for 8 hours just freaking out.
Yeah. It's bad. Yeah.
That's
So-
that Canadian patience.
I love. I really loved that question. Now, you're not haven't been inducted to the Hall of Fame yet. Is that correct? But this is guaranteed. You're the greatest of all time.
Thank you. I'm not sure about that. There's a lot of guys that can claim to be the GOAT. It's very subjective, as you know, to say that. But yeah, I'm inducted to the Hall of Fame, but the party has not happened yet because of COVID.
Okay,
So they
I
announced
understand.
it, but they didn't made it. They made it official, but they didn't really make the celebration and all
Okay.
that stuff that comes with it.
Well, congratulations on being a Hall of Famer, man. That's awesome. And
Thank you, man. Thank you.
and very few people are in the conversation about the greatest of all time, right? I mean, who are we talking about? You hear John Jones, GSP, Khabib,
Anderson Silva.
Anderson Silva.
I would say.
I think that
BJ Penn, Fedor Emelianenko. The problem, I think, guys, is that there's some of them that could be in the conversation, but they stay and hang out
They
way
fought
too
too
long
long.
past their prime in the sport, so they kind of tarnish their legacy, unfortunately.
yeah, I think that
When I think about Silva or
Andre
BJ
Arlovsky.
Penn, you know, they could have retired on top and been like the GOAT, but unfortunately they hang there too long, and that's a problem.
that makes perfect sense. And I was going to say the same thing about Anderson Silva. I feel like, you know,
Who's on your list for the GOAT?
Well, there's a few. It depends for which reason. If you talk about the guy who changed the sport, who changed martial art, my number one GOAT is Royce Gracie.
Yeah.
He's, for me, the best of all time because he have done stuff for his time that I believe will never be repeated. However, if you ask me if I would put Royce Gracie in the UFC right now against the fighters of that era, I don't think he would do well. But for his era, he was the best. He was the best of all time. I believe the best fighters is not even born yet because records are made to be broken. If you talk about who's legitimately the real GOAT, I don't think he's born yet because the fighters of today are better than the one of yesterday, and the one of tomorrow, as good as they are today, as good as they are, they will be better in the future. And if you don't believe me, just because fighting is a very subjective thing, there's no instrument of measure. Just look at track and field, weightlifting, like the sport that you can measure. We always talk about, who's better, Tyson O'Malley or LeBron James or Michael Jordan or this guy. I believe generally speaking, the most recent athletes are always better, not because they're better person, because they have access to better technology and knowledge.
Okay, well, I think that if physical appearance was a factor, then you win.
He wins hands down.
You are gorgeous.
You're the GOAT for the best looking UFC fighter of all time.
I'm not sure about that.
I love telling guys
Most gorgeous
they're
of all
good-looking.
time.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I think another actually, all kidding aside, important criteria should be your outside of the octagon life, right? Like, I mean, as far as you don't have anything tarnishing your legacy for outside of fighting, and that's good.
Well,
right?
I'm look. I've done a lot of crazy shit. Like don't get wrong. I enjoyed my life. I had access to things that most people don't. I party a lot. I had a lot of fun and I enjoyed it. You know what I mean? I've done all my crazy stuff and I feel good. Why would I fight for if it would not be to enjoy it? I don't fight because I enjoy to fight. I fight because of the life that it gives me, the freedom that it provides me. And of course I did a lot of crazy stuff. The problem is I know how to keep it down. I know how to keep it secret. You know what I mean? The problem is some guys, they have a bad entourage. They go out party and they lose their mind, and then that's a problem.
I have a suspicion.
I'm by no means a monk. Trust me.
Right.
I party a lot. I have a lot of fun. I didn't do it I didn't cross certain lines.
Yeah,
No, I did not. But I had a lot of fun. Of course. Like some people, they think, I always follow a diet and this. I don't drink. Yeah, it's not true. I enjoyed my life, and my answer is why would I fight all this time and have that career, that crazy career if I couldn't enjoy it, the benefits of it. You know what I mean?
There's a famous line in Rocky when his trainer's like, women weaken legs, right? And so he didn't want Rocky to blow a load before his fight. Is that something common in like the UFC? Like before a big fight, are you just completely abstinent for as long as you can, or what's the are you blowing loads before you go into the ring to relax?
While we're on the subject of sex, let me tell you that people have been asking me lately whether Blue Chew tablets really work. And I can confidently tell you, yes, they do. In fact, my girl Lux loves it so much when I take Blue Chew tablets that just the night before last, she called me upstairs.
Hey babe, I made you a little something to eat.
And I walk up there and there's just a plate with a Blue Chew tablet sitting on it. Ha! I love that, man. And what is a Blue Chew tablet? Well, it is a tablet which has the same active ingredients as both Viagra and Cialis, except it's chewable and costs only a fraction of the price. And to get it is very, very simple. You don't have to have a physical appointment in a doctor's office, which gets all kinds of awkward. No, you just go to bluechew.com and you consult with one of their medical providers right on there. It's very easy. And then voila, your Blue Chew tablets show up in the mail. What's even better than that is that I'm going to hook you up with an entire month supply for free, a whole month. all you gotta pay is $5 for shipping. That is, if you go to bluechew.com and use the promo code steveo. So, now head on over there, because this thing will give you the most outrageous boner you can even imagine. I'm telling you for a fact, I love boning my girl about a half an hour after I have a Blue Chew, and I mean it. So, one more time, bluechew.com, use the promo code steveo, get a whole month's supply of Blue Chew tablets, and all you have to pay is $5 for shipping. Your boner will thank me. Now, let's talk about sex before the fight.
I got a theory on that, and it's not proven, but that's what I truly believe, because a lot of people ask me about that. I believe the more you do it, the more testosterone it is. So the more you do it, the better it is. The more you evacuate, the better it is, because your body will produce more. And however, I think it will raise your testosterone, and I don't think it's a good idea to do it the day of the fight. Of course not, but before or the day before, or I don't think it really matter.
Okay.
So you would think Scott was the most dangerous guy on the planet, because he'll jack off like 9 times in a day.
Yeah, I did it before the podcast.
Yeah, you probably have a very high testosterone level.
I think so. I think so.
But that's the problem.
I think it's a good thing. I think it's actually a good thing.
Okay.
But that's why Scott can't fight anybody, because he can never go a day without jacking off.
It will probably you will probably fail the performance enhancing drug test. You know,
Right.
testosterone too high.
It's through the roof, dude.
I'm just
That's
kidding
right.
anyway. So I'm gonna go right into this. Right, you're known for believing in UFOs, for many experiences with aliens and UFOs, and now it's on CNN. They're saying UFOs are real. Like, do you feel like I've told you so for so long? I've been saying so, and now you finally believe me.
I never had experience with alien. When I was young, I did what psychologists call sleep paralysis. So it's a phenomenon that happened when it happened to a lot of people, and that's what they tell me, that when you sleep, you paralyze and your brain produces certain chemical that can make you hallucinate. I don't remember my experience, what happened. I remember that I had experience, but I didn't remember what really happened. But I remember that still now today I have a fear of it. Even in the dark, like I'm a grown man, I'm 40 years old. And sometimes some remnants of it, it's in my head that I'm afraid, but I don't know why I'm afraid when I wake up in the middle of the night. But it could be, it's described as sleep paralysis. So, and for UFO, it doesn't mean UFO, it's an alien. We don't know. Like it's an unidentified flying object. And I think they changed the name now for UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't know. I mean, I personally believe, yes, I think if we think we're the only one in the universe, I think not that it's wrong, but we don't have the proof. But I think the universe is so big, there's probably life. I don't know if they came here, but it would not surprise me if they did.
All right.
Yeah. I mean,
I haven't even been particularly, up in arms about it, but it seems pretty interesting that it's mainstream media. The Pentagon is announcing UFOs are real.
The funny thing too is people are just like, oh yeah, okay. Like nobody's freaking out really. Like no one's. They're just kind of like soft lobbing us all this.
That's what surprised me the most. It's crazy. They talk about COVID, and this should be in the front page of every newspaper. I mean, imagine if maybe it's Chinese, maybe, it's Russia, I don't know. But imagine if because they know now that it's intelligently controlled, whatever it is, the pilot talk about it and intentionally jam their radars, so that's mean it's intelligently controlled. It's not a phenomenal, like a random phenomenon from nature.
Yeah,
that's mean it's really something like legit, but we don't know what it is. It is, it's crazy. But imagine if we put our hand into this and we can back and engineer the technology. Mm-hmm. Now we spend like a lot of time and effort on fossil fuel and all that. All the energy that it could change a planet. I think that's the most rewarding thing about that stuff. It could change the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty fascinating. I mean, even with the Colonel Faber that was on everybody's podcast talking about the little tack I mean, if they thought that China had this type of technology, like we'd be on like, you know, category 5 alert, but like because they don't know what it is, like, no big deal.
Yeah.
You know, it's pretty crazy. And what about like sorry, go ahead.
I think the problem is there's a lot of conspiracy theory about it. So this subject has been ridiculed for so many times. You know, it's when you want to hide something and the best way is to hide it in plain sight, so to speak. You know, you ridicule the subject, so everybody is afraid to talk about it because they will be ridiculed.
Right.
So I think I don't know if somebody knows, like, but I don't think the president of the United States, because it comes and goes every 4 years, you know. So I don't know if a guy like this would know every secret. I would tend to say more someone from the KGB or the CIA or something like that. Maybe someone knows what it is, but I don't know, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's an exciting time to be alive.
So Dustin Poirier, he has the hot sauce, and Conor McGregor has the proper 12. And you know, do you have like your own like business where you sell something?
There's a lot of stuff I have. I mean, mostly in fitness. I have a platform called TrueConnectTV.fit, a program called Strike, and it's a platform that it's not only about fitness, it's about well-being. There's some help for mental issues on it. Some program is for the yoga, some are for track and field. My program is for martial art. I teach people how to fight while I keep them in shape and with some fitness exercise, a little bit like Taibo, but more for mixed martial art. It's a great platform. I'm also into Hydro Revolution. It's a new equipment that use the drag of the water to train. It really changed my life. So that's my thing. So I'm more into fitness than into alcohol and stuff. Maybe perhaps one day I'll do it, but not yet.
Right. Okay. So these are things that you're promoting. You promote the hydro. What's it called?
Hydro Revolution.
Yeah,
people
those
can
videos
check it out. It's a training device that you can use in the pool. Like instead of doing bench press and pull up, you can use 2 dumbbells in the pool. You use the drag of the water with it. It's fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen the YouTube videos.
Send me your address. I'll ship you guys some.
I'll
ship you guys. You'll give it a try.
Cool. So everybody check out Hydro Revolution.
Yeah, because I've seen you on YouTube videos doing the swimming pool Hydro Revolution.
Exactly, and it's good for everybody, for older people, young people, athletes. A linebacker from the NFL can train with a lady who weighs 130 pounds, you know, so it doesn't matter. It's because it's the drag of the water that makes the exercise. So the more you push, the more horsepower you put in it, the more you work. So you can't cheat with it. It's great.
Good.
That's cool.
And it's probably like you won't like you blow out your back if like you're bent over like lifting something, right? It's probably more safe on your
Exactly.
Yeah.
It does not load your joint, so it's great because it keeps your body healthy. You know, it's a great complement for a fitness, for training. However, by itself, it's if you want to be an elite athlete, it's you can't use it by itself. It's a great complement. It's very good for recovery, also for performance. But you need to do the real thing, like outside, and because when you're in the water, you don't have the gravity that play against you. So it's important in real life, you have the gravity that goes against you. Yeah. This is more for a side training, but it's a great compliment. It's amazing.
Right. Good.
What question do you get the most at a bar? Like we were talking to Stone Cold Steve Austin, and he's like, people always want to come up to me and arm wrestle. Or I think Michael Bisping said, like, you know, do people come up to you and like always ask you to do something to them at a bar when you're drinking out in public?
Let me tell you that drinking out in public has always been one of my favorite things, before and after I became a sober guy. So what does it look like now? Well, I walk around with my tall boy of liquid death. And what is it? It's not a beer. It's the healthiest mountain water and sparkling water that you can find on the market. Why is it in a can? Because plastic bottles are for dickheads, man. They fill up the ocean, they ruin the world, and they're not even recyclable anymore. But these infinitely recyclable aluminum cans aren't just good for the environment. The water in them isn't just good for you, but it's a lot of fun. You know, I talked to the CEO of Liquid Death just yesterday, and he told me that he loves the idea of little kids in grade school showing up and drinking this in class to freak out their teachers, making them think that they're drinking a beer when they're just drinking innocent water. Because that's the kind of company this is, man. It's fun, it's healthy, and it cares about the environment. So much so that 10% of the profit from every can sold goes to bring death to the plastic. Yeah, dude, they donate it. Man, I love this company, dude. And I'm going to pound this right now. So, how do you get this? Well, you go to liquiddeath.com/Stevo, and you get free koozie with your first order of any case. Yeah, dude. Plus, the CEO, he skateboards too. Love the guy. So, yeah, man, one more time. For free koozies with your first order of any case of Liquid Death water, go to liquiddeath.com/Stevo. Get behind this company, please, because they're a lot of fun. Yeah, dude. Now, let's talk about what happens in the bars. They always ask me, will you kick me in the nuts? Everybody wants everybody wants me to kick them in the nuts.
I can understand why. There's a guy that I remember, and by the way, before, if I may, you know, you almost killed me one time, you guys, with the jackass. I was eating a pizza like many years ago when I was watching your movie. And I remember you were, I don't know if it was you were wearing a jackstrap and some alligator was trying to get some meat. That was you.
That was me.
Dude. I was eating a pizza while I was watching it, and I almost got a stroke because you make me laugh so much. I almost died, man. I almost passed out.
I'm sorry that happened.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
You almost killed me, like literally. And who's the one who fought Butterbean? Is
That's
that
Johnny
you?
Knoxville. Johnny Knoxville thought, yeah.
Just snoring.
Yeah, snoring. That was bad. Dude, what's wrong with my brain? What was the question that you just asked?
What question does he get the most?
Oh,
in the
yeah,
bar?
what question does he get the most? What do people, do people ask you, choke me out?
Now, what they do ask me is, they come, for example, one or two guys, and they ask me, hey, how long you think we could hang with you? And like how long we would last against you? And I don't know. I tell them, I'm like, well, I can't answer that question. And they say approximately. And I ask them, I say, it depends. Do you carry a gun? Do you have any weapon? They say no. Say, do you run fast? They say no. I'm like, yeah, maybe you wouldn't last very long.
That's a good answer.
You mean hanging out with you like in a fight?
Yeah, how long can we last fighting you?
Yeah.
How long would you last into a fight? Like if I decide to beat them up, how long they could be able to stand? You know.
Well,
so
that's like
it always depends on every individual, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's like when Brendan Shaw was talking about, John Jones being the GOAT. He's like, he can take out like 10 guys in a bar. And then I asked him, how many guys can Izzy Adesanya take out? He's like, he can probably do like 8 just because of his size. How many dudes at a bar do you think you can fuck up before you get taken over?
Average guys.
But it always depends which kind of guy, like small guys who knows how to fight, guys who has weapon. And I was a doorman in a bar, and I'm gonna tell you something. We talk about street fight and MMA fight. These are two different things, like very different things. I remember sometime like even women were very hard to deal with because a woman, in a street fight, like she's gonna grab a bottle and a woman can hurt you just as bad as a man, and in a street, there's no rules. So the fact that you're a champion in mixed martial arts, it's not a 100% like guarantee that you will win the fight. You know what I mean? Anybody can come behind me, tap me on the shoulder, and if I don't expect it, throw a big punch and knock me out cold. Like what you don't see coming that's what knocks you out. Everybody can do it to me. I mean, to a certain extent. But what I'm saying is, in a street fight, the element of surprise is the most important thing. And I was bullied a lot when I was young, and one thing that I had to my advantage is that because I was a nice guy, I was never looking for trouble. I had the element of surprise because before that the fight happened, there's no referee that say go. There's something that needs to happen. There's someone that instigate the fight, and when you feel the heat rising too much, now because you're the nice guy, you're on the defense. He's the one looking for trouble. You have the element of surprise, and that gives you a big edge. It's like a head start. And if you know how to fight on top of that, it's your chance of winning are like almost 99.9%.
Wow.
So always throw the first punch.
Cobra
Exactly.
Kai.
Always never be the aggressor. Always be the one who's, that's why to be a nice guy, to not look for trouble in a way. If you don't look for trouble and you know how to fight, you have a big, big advantage over anybody who comes to look for trouble with you because you have the element of surprise. I'm not talking about someone who does not know how to fight. Of course, if you don't know how to fight, you don't know how to deal with this situation. But if you do know how to fight, man, it's a huge, huge, huge advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Good, man. Do you watch every UFC? Or you don't always? Are you such a fan and you watch it all the time? Because I never miss a fight, man. I love it.
I watch all the big one. And also now that I am the French commentator for the sport channel in Canada.
Cool.
So because French is my first language, I'm sure you realize that my English is not very good. So
it's great.
French
man.
is my number one. So I do all the big shows, and I choose the one that I wanted to do. So I do all the big pay-per-views. I watched the last one was Oliveira against Chandler. I watched it. I commentated on TV.
I watched a YouTube video with you predicting who was going to win the Chandler Oliveira, but I forget who you picked. Did you? Yeah,
I made a mistake. I thought Chandler would have won, but unfortunately, not unfortunately. Yeah, Oliveira did an amazing job.
Right.
I mean, it could have gone both sides. I mean, it was very tight.
It was very, very close to being over at the end of the first round. There's no question about that. And I was happy for the outcome because of Chandler was so overconfident. He says, "Oh, Oliveira, he doesn't have heart." That's a big insult to say a man doesn't have heart. He says when Oliveira feels my pressure, he's gonna question whether he wants to even fight. I'm gonna break his spirit. He's gonna have no gumption. Ooh, man, I felt really good for Oliveira to shut that shit up.
but you know the thing. What happened is that when you do those interviews to promote the fight, course. The interviewer they dig deep to try to make you say things. Yeah. To talk shit about your opponent.
Right.
I don't think you underestimate Oliveira. I think he was maybe pushed to say something like this because fights are promoted on emotions. Right. But they are not one on emotions. Fights are one on mundane stuff that you do every day in training. And I a lot of time you have guys that will talk a lot of trash. They play mental warfare. Yeah. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Like Nick Diaz. He was pretty good at that.
Exactly. Nick Diaz was good, but not the best. Michael Bisping was very good. Michael Bisping
really was good.
Was pretty good.
That was your last fight, Michael Bisping. Is that right?
Yes, Michael Bisping was pretty good, but he's actually a very nice guy. But when you get into a fight, the fight starts the minute you sign the contract, because now in the media, he's gonna make some crazy declaration and you're gonna have to prove him wrong in the ring and stuff like that.
I remember the press conference, the media for you and Michael Bisping, and I felt like, ooh, Michael Bisping, he won the press conference, but then you stuck it to him in the octagon.
Yeah, but you know what was the best promotion? The best thing we did promotion-wise for that fight, it was not even during the press conference, and I have to give it to Michael Bisping. We were in Toronto during a press conference, and he was talking shit to me, and I was answering back and forth, and I cannot win a trash talk contest with an Englishman because English is not my first language, and on top of that, I'm just not good at it. So of course he was talking trash and stuff like that, and we did the face off, and when we did the face off, he kind of came too close and he put his hand on me, and I pushed him back. So after the press conference, we went our both separate ways, and we went backstage in the truck. And we were backstage, and I remember there were kids that were coming up to me for autograph. And Michael Bisping, his limousine was parked not far away from mine. So he saw me backstage, and he saw that TMZ was there as well. So he saw the camera, the TMZ camera. So right away he came into my face, right away in front of everybody, and he says to me, "Say, hey," and you can check that clip. It's on YouTube, I believe. You can check it. He goes like, "Hey, next time you put your dirty hand on me, I'm gonna swing at you." And I told him something like, "Yeah, like go ahead right now. Let's do it right now." And then we got separated by the Michael Bisping coach. So, but people really like were really tuned into this, and these kinds of stuff makes the emotions coming out, and people want to buy the fight because fights are promoted on emotion.
Right.
So Bisping is a very, very clever guy. He knows how to promote the fight.
Did you know that when you had that fight that he could only see out of one eye?
No, I did not. I mean, I knew his vision from one of his eye was compromised, but I didn't know it was like that. I didn't know it was 100% like that. It's insane.
Yeah.
He's probably the toughest guy in the UFC ever. I mean it's
Tony
insane.
Ferguson has been racking up some tough points.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Tony Ferguson, Michael Bisping is not too far behind, I gotta say.
Right. Now, when I met Ronda Rousey, I was talking to Ronda Rousey. She was she was explaining something that Jean LaBelle told her. You know, Jean LaBelle, it's a judo master.
Yeah.
Jean LaBelle said to Ronda Rousey, she's telling me this. He says, I won every real fight, every REAL fight. I won, and I was broke. I had nothing to show for it. And then I got into movies, and every REEL fight, I lost. But then I could retire because I made so much money. So, so with all the roles that you had with the Captain America, like you're like two Captain, that's got to be. Does that sound about right? What Jean LaBelle says
It's about right. And I also lost a fight on the big screen against Jean-Claude Van Damme, Steven Seagal.
Right.
I mean, they're bad. Like they're not like the movie. It's. I didn't even watch it all myself, but there are movies that I've done in the past. But yeah, man, I've lost pretty much all the fight that I got into as an actor.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
So the Marvel movies pay better than the UFC.
No, that's not true. I made a lot more money in UFC. I made a lot more money in UFC. But however, there's guys that we only hear about the people who makes it. You know what I mean? Like you hear about McGregor, you hear about Jones, you hear about like I made it too. I made a great money. I have enough money now to live for the rest of my life, and I don't need money anymore. Yeah, no, seriously, and unless I do crazy, stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's always ways to do crazy stuff and lose everything. But I have more than enough to live 2-3 lives again.
That's great, man.
I'm very good. And then to take care of my family as well. But the sad thing about it is most of the fighters, they're not like that. Most of the fighters, they will finish broken and beaten and very bad. It's a very bad movie ending, for most of them. That's why when a parent come with his kids to me and introduce me his kids as, "Hey George, there's the new the future world champion. Do you have some advice for him?" I always tell the kid, I say, "You go to school?" He say, "Yes." I say, "Make sure you be good at school because this is the number one priority for you. Yeah, go train if you want, do boxing, MMA, basketball, but always be good at school because it's your assurance. If in case something doesn't work, at least you have an assurance. You can have a real job, because if you put all your eggs in the same basket and you only want to become a professional athlete, and if you reach the age of, for example, late 20s or 30s, and you realize that you cannot make it, damn, it's too late. You have nothing that you can fall into to catch up and make yourself for the money that you have lost. So I tell the kids, yes, try to make it big, try for a career, but stay at school. And it's same thing not only in fighting. There's one on 100,000. Same thing in baseball, basketball, hockey, everything.
Yeah.
So the odds are very, very, very low for you to succeed. And it's not because I made it that I'm going to tell your kid to make it as well.
I think that's fantastic advice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How much does a good manager play a part of all that? I mean, you're with Aaliyah Aziz, right? Like, at a certain point, are they just sending you over the same contracts, or is he just kind of like helping you negotiate for more and more and more and more every time?
No, I'm with the CA, and I was lucky before I got with CA. I had advice from friends that were my friend before I was popular. So I always had great guidance, because a career of an athlete, especially in combat sport, it's not a straight line. And sometimes it's like when you play poker, you have to bluff. And I remember times that, man, I'm going to tell you the truth. My first fight in UFC, I made $3,000 plus $3,000 to win. My first UFC title fight against Matt Hughes that I've lost, I signed for $9,000 plus $9,000, and I lost that fight. So I made only $9,000. My first UFC fight. I made my first $1 million. I remember around my fight against John Fitch. And the reason why I made my first $1 million, I would not have made it if I would have not have played my card well, and my advisors would not have advised me well. So what I did is, the way it works in UFC, and if there's young fighters that listen to me, take some note, because it's very important what I'm talking about. If you want to retire money, to make enough money for the rest of your life and not be broke when you finish, pay attention to this. So UFC, they're not my friends. They're my employer, and they're there to make business. They run a business, and it's okay for me. So I have to look for the best of my interests. So the way it works in UFC is, when you sign a contract, normally they try to make you sign a contract for multiple fight. So you know how much you will make for your next fight, your next one if you win, and next one if you win, and your next one if you win. And let's say you sign for a 5-fight contract, you know how much those 5 fights will give you if you win. And normally, as you go in your career, that if you're successful, of course, that means your stock goes high. So when you're at your 4th fight and you have one more left, because your stock is high, they don't want to lose you. They don't want you to go to fight for other organization. So they want to keep you. So they don't want you to finish their contract. So before your last fight, they're going to try to renegotiate with you. And they're going to offer you something. However, it's up to you to make the right decision. And I remember I was in that situation at one point before my fight with John Fitch. And I was fighting for peanuts. You know, and when I say peanuts, I was making money, but not money as I was deserving. And I was in a dilemma, because I had one more fight on my contract and my stock was high. I was the new rising star. I was the new champion, beating up everybody. And the money that they were offering me was not good. So for the what I've done, you know, for my level. So I had one more fight left, and I said in their face, I had the courage to say, no, I'm going to end my contract after this one and see, try my chance to see to be a free agent, because I believe I worth more money, to see who can give me more. So what happened is, one day before I was going to fight, the day after the weigh-in, the UFC owner came and did another contract for me. So he gave me a contract and the money that I want, and that's when I made my first millions of dollars. But if I would not have had the balls to do that and hold on to this, I would have been paid peanuts for the rest of my life. But because it's a business, that's how it goes. You need to have the right advisors, that because fighting is not a straight line. Sometimes you need to put a poker face and say, no, I'm ready to take the fight and be a free agent after, to see who can give me more. But if you do that and your stock is high, it's always a chance, because you might lose your fight and your stock will be low. But if you do that and you're successful and the UFC let you go, and when you're a free agent, now it's gonna be like an auction. Who give you more money? Mm. So the UFC don't want that, because they're the most prestigious organization. So they want to have the most prestigious, the best fighters. And if it's gonna make them look bad if they lose you to another organization. So you need to be aware of that. You know, but of course you need to win your fight. You need to be successful, of course.
Man, I wonder if Chandler losing, if that's like such great news for the UFC, because it shows that the the UFC is the more prestigious for the best in the world.
But it's always a gamble in a way that, let's say you're in a contract that you have signed a 3-fight contract and you have won your first 2 fights and now you're about to fight your 3rd fight. If the UFC think that you will probably lose your 3rd fight against the guy that they're gonna give you, they're perhaps not gonna try to renew your contract before. They're perhaps not gonna give you a good contract for to renew it. So and it's up to you to know, hey, is it worth it that I take a chance and I become a free agent, or I want, you know what I mean? It's
right.
You have to think about it. It depends in every situation, but you need to have good advisors. And unfortunately, in MMA, a lot of guys, they have very poor, very bad advisors. And I had a chance to grow up with guys that were my real friends, so they advised me very well.
So when you're coming up on that last fight in the contract, do you think the UFC makes that a very hard fight for you, so that you don't have that negotiating power? Do they play it like that?
Well, for me, I was the world champion, so they always brought me the best guy.
Yeah,
so no
that's
problem.
true.
I was at the time that I didn't care. I was ready to take on anybody, anytime, anywhere. I didn't care. I was very hungry. Bring it, no problem, my friend. I'm gonna take care of it.
Mm-hmm.
But for young fighters, you know, like as it go up in rank, you need to be aware of that. You know, I see some young guys, sometimes they sign contract for like 8-fight deal. I'm like, it's ridiculous. Because if your stock go up, you have no room of no power to negotiate because you already signed for 8 fights. So if you win your first 2 fights and you're very successful, your 6th other fight, that's mean the purse that you're gonna have is predetermined. Right. So you have no power. And a lot of guys, they get caught with that sort of thing. You know, it's foolish to think that everybody is well managed, because the problem is in basketball, in hockey, baseball, American football, they have a union that took care of the kids, because there's a plateau, there's codes, you know, there's a rules, you know, to follow. There's a guideline. We don't have any guideline in MMA, and that's why a lot of the athletes they're broke. They have no money, and it's very unfortunate for that.
Yeah, wow, fuck. So you went from making 9,000 to $1 million. That kind of jump.
Yeah, too. I made way past that in my last fight. Way past that in my last fight.
Good for you.
That's because Michael
Hell
Bisping's trash talk.
We got 10 fingers holding up here.
About that, and with sponsorship and all that, all the deals I have, like about that, you know. So just to show you that everything is possible, and you know what I mean? But you need to perform to be a good fighter first, of course. Otherwise, you're not gonna go nowhere. Right. But you need to be managed well. And I'm managed by CAA, you know, in LA. And I had a lot of issues when I was young, you know, like everybody else. I had to go in court, and I was badly advised at first in certain times. But I always had two of my close friends that I have for a very long time. One was a stockbroker, and not a stockbroker. One was a real estate, not real estate, a stock broker guy. And the other one was a fiscalist and a lawyer. So they had other jobs in the past. They were not working for me, but they were always giving me good advice. And as time goes on, I had enough money that I hired them to be in my team and took care of me. And then we went with CAA all together. And that's how everything happened, you know. But I was very lucky. So because when you start to make a lot of money, a lot of people gonna come to you, and there's a lot of sharks. And fighting, it's a world of shark, my friends. I'm telling you, it's very bad. You cannot trust nobody in that.
Do you still have a relationship with Ali?
Oh yeah, Ali is a friend of mine. Ali, I know him when I was poor. I didn't have money. I stayed in his house in New York. Ali is a good friend of mine. We text each other sometimes. Yeah, Ali is a manager. He does not manage me, but he manages other fighters. He managed Khabib Nurmagomedov. He managed a lot of good guys, Cameroon. He's got a great team.
Gaethje.
Man, I'd like to link up with him.
Yeah,
I think I've got some funny ideas.
When the UFC gives you a $10 million paycheck, I mean, maybe it wasn't all at once, but like do they give you a breakdown of where it's from, or is it just a check?
Well,
like pay-per-views or.
The way it happened is they don't give you one check. The way it happened in MMA, like the way it happened for me, you can negotiate, depend your power, your level of power, of course. If you're, it's always depend. It's different from every fighter. But you have enough power that you can demand, a purse to win. You can demand a percentage of the gate. You can demand pay-per-views, because when I used to fight, it was we made a lot of money. The most of money I made, it was through pay-per-view buys. So I was paid to fight as a purse, but the most of money came later. It was during the pay-per-view buys, because it was making me a partner. So I was also a partner of the company. I was not only an employee. I was a partner because I had a good argument. I was telling them that because of me, a lot of people are gonna watch the show. And if you make money, it's fair that I make money too, because I'm bringing a lot of people to buy the pay-per-view. So, but that's how I used to. The system was different when I used to fight than it is now.
Well, now every world champion, if you're the champion, then you get a percentage of the pay-per-view for every champion.
Well, not everybody, and now I believe the structure has changed, because the pay-per-view now is ESPN. I don't think that the fighters has as much power now that they used to be. So, like before, when I was fighting earlier in my career, we were allowed to have a lot of sponsors, and we got paid a lot of money. Now there's a Reebok deal,
right? And then now it's Venom.
So that's why, when I came back to fight Michael Bisping, one of the arguments that I was we were saying with my team and I were like, hey. Yeah, you pay us a certain amount of money, but don't forget that I lost money because before I used to get my sponsor. Now I don't get paid for this. So Reebok need to pay me, or whatever I'm going to wear need to pay me that amount of money. So you need to fight for every inch of it. I don't do that. It's not my job. It's not my, that's not what I'm good at. I'm not, I'm not qualified to do that. I have very qualified people that do that for me. And I think a fighter, one of his jobs, I think it's important that he choose carefully his team, that he hire people that he can trust, but also people that are qualified to do the job to represent him well.
So your advice to John Jones would be take the Stipe fight.
Yeah, well, I mean, dude, anybody's fucking advice to John Jones would be take the Stipe fight. What are you thinking?
I think he should fight. I think Jones should fight the champion. Not Stipe. I think he should fight Francis Ngannou, the champion.
Okay, but that's not a possibility anymore. So
why not? Because he doesn't want to take the 30.
Well, because they're gonna book Derek Lewis and Ngannou. So and then like what John Jones wants to do is wait for the winner of Derek Lewis and Ngannou so that he's fighting for the championship. And maybe we disagree, George, but I think if he does take the Stipe fight and he can win it, then he's earned everybody's respect. He gets 2 fights, like you can beat Stipe. Now it's like, wow, you won at heavyweight. Like this is crazy. Like now we take you very seriously. Now we're really paying attention. Now we really even more want to see you fight for the.
But why
belt.
wouldn't Izzy fight the number 2 guy? Like why would Izzy go up and fight the champion right away?
I believe if I'm John Jones, because this what we talk about, that's what we talk about. It's like chess game,
Yeah.
Because these are big important decisions that you make, and because fighting, there's no way. It's always a question of odds. Doesn't mean if you think you're gonna beat one guy, doesn't mean that even if the odds favor you, doesn't mean that you're always gonna win. And I think it would be a mistake for John Jones to fight Stipe. I not because I believe John Jones will beat Stipe, but however, why taking the risk of fighting Stipe when you can wait and fight for the champion if you can, and collect 2 belts. And then after, John Jones is the greatest of all time. If he does that, like, man, he can run up to the sunset. Sunset, his stock will be as high as more higher than anybody ever. And another world will open for him, as he retired. He could do whatever he wants. The problem is, guys, they hang there in a sport for too long. They are considered the best, but they hang there for too long. So now their stock goes down, and they retire as their stock are down. So when they retire, the door does not open for them because they're already broke. You know what I mean? Their stock is bad.
Yeah.
So that's why you should retire on top. And everybody keep fighting for different reasons. I do not like to fight personally. I did it because it gives me my life, my freedom, and I love it. I never liked to fight. I never enjoyed it 1 second. I hate it. It was that not knowing if I was going to be badly hurt or humiliated. For me, it's unbearable. That's why I'm a big fan of you guys, what you guys do in the Jackass movie. You guys are completely insane and doing it for fun. I wish I could be like that. I mean, you guys are completely insane.
I don't do it for fun at all. I do it for attention. I'm an attention whore. I love these drinking.
Man,
He's the best. Dude.
George St-Pierre.
Yeah. I love that. Hey, what are you thinking about on a world title fight? The cage closes. Are you just zoned in on like different moves and techniques, or are you just kind of just waiting for the bell to go? Like, what's going through your head before they go ding, ding, ding? And do the nerves stop at the first punch, or do they kind of just? What's that like? I mean, I just can't imagine being in the cage.
If you want, I'm gonna give you a little tour of how I live through the week leading up before a fight.
Awesome.
Because it start for me. It start much earlier than that. It start when I signed the contract, even before I signed the contract. Because I'm thinking, I'm watching one fight and I'm like, maybe I'm gonna fight this guy or this guy. Normally, when you're a champion, you know who you're gonna fight next. You know the possibilities. You know that you're gonna fight the winner of that fight. So you're gonna pay attention to the fight that's gonna declare the number one contender. So your butterfly is already started. And as you watch the fight, you start making scenario. If this guy, I'm gonna do this. If this guy, I'm gonna do this. So you see your brain already start. For me, because I'm obsessive compulsive. That's how it works. Then when you know who you're fighting, now you know who you're going up against. You right away start making out scenarios in your head. As much as you think about sex in your life, in your head, I was thinking about sex as well, but I was thinking about fighting, like just as much. And the closer you get to the fight, the more you think about it, and it become like a mental disease, an obsession, because sometimes when you have some visions. And sometimes you see yourself winning and sometimes you don't. You see yourself in trouble. But the thing is, when you see yourself in trouble, for me, one of the tricks I have to stay positive and all that and control my stress level is when I see myself losing, I don't let go on that negative thought. I force myself to think of how I'm going to take back the upper hand of that situation and turn it to my advantage. And then I can let go my thought and do something else in my life. And these thoughts before a fight, and I'm talking about like 2 months, sometimes 2 months, even a month, 2 months, all the way to the fight will hunt you. It hunt me like crazy every second, every minute of my existence. When I'm driving my car, when I'm eating, before I go to bed. And it's get worse. As the fight goes on, it get worse. And it weighs very heavy on my shoulder. And it's crazy. It drives me nuts, especially the week of the fight, because you get into press conference. And when you promote a fight, you get to see your opponent. And the print that he left in your brain and the scar that he left because he's talking to you, stuff that he's saying, get really to you on an emotional level. So you start making imagery, not only about the fight, but what you're going to say to him. And if you say that, how you're going to answer back and everything. So everything, it's like a fight. And it gets worse. And the week of the fight, you have to lose weight. And when you lose weight, it's not a pleasant experience. And when I'm cutting weight, it's very hard. Sometimes you want to give up, you want to get out of the sauna. But I'm thinking that my opponent is right next to me. And I'm not allowed to show any weakness. So until I've made weight, I don't show any weakness. Then I make weight. I go to the weigh-in. And I'm going to tell you the truth. The night before the fight, I never sleep well. Never. I never sleep well because there's too much scenario in my mind that is it's hunting my mind. I cannot sleep. I'm turning in my bed. Then, but if you do this, I'm going to do that. And then I'm turning. And then sometimes I see myself winning. Sometimes I don't. And I have to force myself to finish on top. It's an obsession. It drives me nuts. So I sleep very, very little the few nights before the fight because I'm going nuts. So the day of the fight, when I wake up, I always tell myself the same thing. I always feel like shit. And I'm always like, man, I don't feel good today. I feel like shit. Like, man, I don't know. Probably because I don't sleep well the night before. And I thought at one point when I was young that this would go away. And with the experience, I will be able to feel better with that. but it's getting worse every time because every fight is bigger than the last one. And with time, you realize that it's normal, and that stress, that fear, you cannot let it consume you, because fear is like fire. It can help you cook your food, but it can also burn you. And I know that fear and stress will help me to increase my reaction time, my decision-making time. So it's my friend, and I embrace it. I want to be afraid, because I know if I'm not afraid, that's me that does not care about what's going to happen, and I might not be fighting at the best of my abilities. So I'm going crazy the whole time. I'm going nuts. But as a team, it cannot be any weak link, so I have to showcase confidence in front of my trainer. So when they ask me, hey, are you okay? I'm like, yes, man, I'm ready to go. I can't wait, man. It's going to be fun. Can't wait. Even though deep down inside, I'm lying because I'm scared as hell.
Fuck.
And I'm very uncomfortable. I'm terrified. Because I'm thinking, I'm like, man, maybe I'm going to be humiliated or something. I'm going to get knocked out, cold. But this fear makes me be better and perform at my best. So all that day that I'm fighting is the longest day of my life. It's crazy because so much stress going on until I go to the locker room. And when you go to the locker room, for example, in my last fight against Michael Bisping, it was crazy because it was like my locker room was cursed. All my training partner was getting knocked out. All the guys from my team were getting knocked out. They were all coming back in the locker room, all messed up, all like with an ice bag on the head, like knocked out. Like it was bad. So I was like freaking out. I started thinking to myself, I was like, man, maybe it's a bad day. Maybe we're cursed, or even though I'm not superstitious, I'm like, man, maybe in my gym, what we do is not right. Maybe we don't do the right thing, and we you know what I mean? We're all has been, maybe things we're not as good as we think. Maybe we need to change our methods. And then the fight get close. Then you watch the fight on TV, and you never know. You try to predict at what time you're gonna go on. You're the last fight, so you see some guys getting knocked out, and you're like, okay, now I need to warm up because it's coming up soon. And as you warm up, it changed something in your mind, because when you start hitting the pads, it makes your confidence grow. And the scare guy that I was before now start to disappear, because I'm starting to get confidence, because remember the mechanic of my movement, the perfection of my punches and my technique and everything, and make me remember how good I am. And oh yeah, I can do that well, like now I remember how good I am, how much I'm a beast in the gym, how much the sacrifice I've done to be here, how much I took care of myself for that preparation, how much hardcore sparring I had. I'm sure he didn't have the hardcore sparring that I had to go through. I'm sure he didn't make the sacrifice that I did. I'm sure he didn't fight those beasts that I had to fight during my training camp. I had to go through hell to my training camp. I'm sure he didn't go through the same hell that I did. Make you remember this thing. Then you became a different person. And then times fly, and now there's someone in the UFC that come knock at your door and say, hey, St-Pierre, you're up next. So when that moment come, I have a little ritual that I do. I go in the bathroom. I look at myself in the mirror. I'm alone. And only my coach knows what I'm doing. And I'm looking myself in the mirror, and I try to make my confidence go. And I'm talking to myself. I'm not a cocky person in public, but I'm trying to be in private. When I'm talking to myself, I'm telling myself, like, I'm stronger than him. I'm better than him. I'm more well prepared. I'm way more athletic than he is. I went through hell. I'm a much, much better fighter. I'm going to win this fight. I'm going to show these young kids that lose their fight tonight how things should be done. And I'm going to show them that I'm the fucking king in this gym. And I'm going to give the example. And then I'm kicking out the door, and I'm a different person than when I came. So the George St-Pierre that you see now today is not the same than the one that is going to fight and is about to step in the octagon. And when I kick the door and I'm about to do my walk, now it's on cruise control. I don't have time to think, because if I think, I miss the opportunity. I miss, and I can get clipped. So it's all about cruise control. It's like when you play golf, you hit the ball is in the air. There's nothing you can do to change the result of the fight, to change the outcome, because all my work is done. Now the only thing I can do is to do it, to let myself go with the cruise control, to trust my instinct. That's how it goes.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah, dude.
You guys are the man,
Amazing.
dude.
I love it.
So is it kind of, you're
So
kind of,
people, they're like, oh, how come you don't like to fight? Yeah, I don't like to fight because the person I am now is different than the person that is getting ready to step into the octagon. We're both different human beings.
so you're operating a lot off of instinct in the in the fight. So are you ever like 3 seconds later, you're like, oh wow, I just blocked a really cool, like you don't even realize what's happening as it's happening. You're on a delay, like your brain is on a delay almost.
Now, this is after when you watch the tape. Because what happened is in training, you do so many repetition and repetition and repetition. You drill certain techniques 1,000 times. So it become like an automatic in your brain. It's an action reaction. You know, when you have a certain action, you give the reaction in order to give you the upper hand in the fight. And you drill that so many times that it become automatic. So when you fight, you're on cruise control. Everything you do, it's a reflection of what you've been working on through the past 10 years of your life. And I say 10 years, maybe you're the past 30 years, because I start when I was a kid, you know? So there's no accident, I believe. Everything happened because of a reason, because your reaction, everything is a cause and effect, you know? And that's how it goes.
Wow.
Yeah, it's interesting when they interview. I saw Gaethje walking back to his locker room after the Ferguson fight, and they were like, "Man, it's crazy! Like you threw some leg kicks in there." He's like, "I fucking threw some leg kicks in there, like holy shit!" Like he didn't even remember. I mean, it's
Yeah.
yeah,
Out about
Yeah,
it experience.
you're on cruise control. For me, I remember in one of my fights, I came back. It's a 5-round fight. When you fight for a championship, it's 5 rounds. I was fighting Johnny Hendricks. After my 3rd round, I got rocked in my 3rd round. After the 2nd round, I got rocked in the 2nd round. So I go back in the stool, and my cornermen are like, "Hey, George, this is the final round. It's 2-2. This is the 5th round. Is the one that gonna win this round, gonna win the fight. So this is a decisive round. You have to give everything you got. You know, if you want to stay champion, you have to give it all." And I look at the guy, I'm like, "Guys, you're making a mistake. It's the 3rd round." And they're like, "No, George, it's the 5th round." And I look at the screen, I'm like, "Shit. Yeah, it's the 5th round. It's because I got rocked. I lost time."
Wow.
oh my god.
So
dude.
I was on cruise control that whole time. So that's what I mean. It's a normal thing. We're on survival mode. You can say I play baseball, I play soccer, play basketball, but you don't play fighting. And this is something that we all have inside of ourselves. I can put anybody in a situation that he's going to have to fight, either to protect himself or to protect someone that he loves. I can put everybody. I don't care, the nicest person. I can put it in a situation like my mother, who's the nicest person I know. I can put her in a situation that she would be forced to fight in order to protect her kids. She will. She cannot do it well. Of course, she's not a fighter, but she will. So fighting, we can all relate to it because it's something that we all have to do at least once in our life. You know, like it's something that we can relate. It's in our most basic instinct. That's why it's not like playing basketball. It's fighting. It's different. And the proof of that, if you don't believe me, look at what happened if you go watch a basketball game or a baseball game and a fight breaks out in the crowd. You will stop watching the game and look at the fight because the fight is threatening. It's threatening you. It has something different, a different appeals to what is going on as a game. Maybe you don't like that sort of entertainment, you know, and it's not an entertainment that is made to everybody, but everybody can relate to fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
So on the platform where you teach people the MMA, where this is, you say you can put people in these situations, and that's how you do it on the platform. You put people in the situations on the platform when you teach people.
Yeah, what I do is I teach them the basic fundamentals of mixed martial arts. So what they do, they can train like a fighter, the same movement that we do, except they don't have to get the same damage that we
Right.
have to get when we're training for a fight. You know, you don't get brain damage, you know, so they can train. They can repeat the same movement, and I explain the details of how to do it well.
And how do
And they stay in
people
shape at the same time.
and how do people get this training from you? How do they find the platform? This is
It's called True Connect, TV.fit. It's on your cell phone. You can download it, TV.fit. And my program is called Strike.
TV.fit.
Fit. My program it's Strike. There's many
Strike.
other programs. There's like
but all the
yoga,
other-
there's stuff for track and field, like whatever. But my program it's Strike, like a strike.
Okay, good.
Do you have a
So-
program on there to teach guys how to pick up on chicks? Because I feel like you got all those dialed in, man.
That maybe would be my next one.
For sure.
All right. So we send people to George St-Pierre Strike on fit.tv. TV.fit.
Yeah, TV.fit.
TV.fit. And we send them to buy Hydro Revolution. This
Yes,
is,
sir.
and
Hydro Revolution,
and
you
where do
can
they buy
have
that?
the GSP bundle, and you can go to TV.fit, the program Strike.
Okay. And what about your social media?
My social media it's George St-Pierre. It's on Instagram at George St-Pierre. No dash for
Okay.
the Instagram.
All right, good man.
What an amazing conversation. What an amazing
Dude.
person, man. So
Really-
cool.
and on his birthday.
Yeah, I feel like it's our birthday.
Right. It's really, yeah, it's really
Yeah, man.
We got to do this on your
Hey,
birthday.
it was. I'm very glad to talk to you guys. It was a pleasure,
Hey, man, the pleasure is ours, and thank you so much, man. Yeah.
man. Keep doing what you guys do. You look great, Steve. You look great, man. In fact, I'm glad a guy like you normally could have died maybe 25 times, but
Yeah.
I'm glad you're looking good and everything, man. You guys are good.
Hey, thank you so much, man. Right on. Man, GSP, dude. Just telling you how it is, man. I really like that guy. And I love the UFC, man. And I love Liquid Death. That's all I got. Fuck yeah, man. Thanks for hanging around until the end. Woo! Hey everybody, and welcome to an insane wild ride with Steve-O. This one's insane in the membrane, folks. We've got the legend Be Real, who's a good friend of mine from way back in the day, but I haven't seen him since I got sober. Man, it's crazy. He just lets loose talking about gang activity, being shot. Like, what doesn't he just totally open up about? This episode is literally insane, and what's not different about it from any other episode is that I am pounding coffee the whole time. But what is different is the coffee that I'm drinking. 4 Sigmatic. Man, this stuff is made with functional mushrooms, lion's mane mushrooms. If coffee made with mushrooms sounds weird to you, trust me, this stuff is delicious, man. Except it doesn't give you that cracked out jittery feeling. It helps you stay on point. It boosts your immunity. All of the mushrooms that they make it with are organic and fair trade. And I'm telling you, man, I heard about this from my friends. They use it, they swear by it, and now it is the only coffee that I will drink. And you know I drink a whole lot of coffee. So they've given a special offer only for the Wild Ride listeners, exclusive to the Wild Ride podcast. If you go to 4sigmatic.com/Stevo, you can get up to 40% off your order of any coffee bundle and free shipping. I'm telling you, this stuff is gonna really help you out. So help out the podcast, help out yourself. Go to 4sigmatic.com/Stevo and try out this coffee, which is the only coffee I will drink now. Because, man, I want to be on point. I want to regenerate my brain. I heard that this stuff might actually regenerate my brain, which I could use because I've beat up my brain a lot. But in any case, get on over to 4sigmatic.com/Stevo. Enjoy up to 40% off of your order and free shipping. And now, let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, Be Real. Yeah,
What up?
dude.
Dude.
Yeah, man, good to see
you, man.
You met Scott and Paul.
Yep. Word up.
What's up, dude?
So, dude,
Yep.
have I not seen you since I got sober?
Yeah, it's been some years.
Yeah, dude, fuck,
been
man.
some years.
I've been sober 13 years.
Congratulations on that,
Dude,
man.
thank you
That's
so much,
awesome.
man. Yeah, you were privy to what a pile I was.
Was the last time you guys saw each other at the Rainbow Room?
Yeah.
It probably would have been.
Drinking
Yeah.
at the bar?
I think I dropped him off at the apartment you were staying at the time. We got off, actually. I went with you into the apartment. Something was going on. And then you rammed your fucking head through the drywall. I was like, what?
At the apartment?
Yeah.
Oh, what do you mean, like the night? Like, were we with a guy named Stomper?
I think so, yeah.
What?
Dude, Be Real had the best friends, man. These guys are the Stomper and
Big Marv.
Yo,
There's
Big Marv's the best. How's he doing?
He's good. He's slimmed down. He's
Cool.
he's toned his party life down a little bit.
Good.
Because he's a little bit older, and you know what I'm
Sure,
saying.
man, we all are.
You can't grind all the time every
Right.
fucking day like these guys were. But yeah, he's doing all right. He's doing all right.
You guys hung out quite a bit back in the day?
Yeah.
Our spot was the Rainbow.
Yeah.
And so, like, and this was before marijuana was, like, legal.
Yeah.
It was, like, kind of fucked up to just sit down at a restaurant and be rolling joints and smoking them.
On the patio. Yeah.
And, right, and it was just cool there.
Yeah, we made it like Little Amsterdam.
Yeah.
We were, I was tight with the owner, Mario, rest in peace, Mario Maglieri, a legend on Sunset Strip. And his family owns the Rainbow, the whiskey, in various places. And when I got there, I was introduced to him by this guy named Big Worm, rest in peace, who just passed away. You've partied
I
with
remember
Big Worm.
Big Worm.
Yeah, he passed away recently. He got out of prison, and maybe 6 months later he passed away. But I got to see him before he passed. But Mario allowed us to be on the patio smoking weed. He got a kick out of it. He didn't smoke himself. He didn't do any of the drugs. He just maybe had a drink. But he allowed everybody there to be themselves and do what they do. As long as they didn't act like assholes, get in fights and shit like that, which did happen. But, we kept it together when we were out there. It was more about just hanging
Yeah.
and having a good time.
Yeah, I remember one time you had a big boombox CD player on the table, and you played for me Psycho Realm.
Yeah.
And that shit was so dope. I stole your CD, man.
That's all right.
I left with that mixtape that night, man.
wow.
Like,
I had many more.
dude, that shit was great, man. Shout out to Psycho Realm, man. Sick jackin'.
Yeah, that was your first time hearing it, I remember, because, I think we had put that album out in 97, and it had been around for a while, but we were talking about it, and then I just brought it. And you got a chance to hear it, and you took it, and that was good, because that's what it's about.
Yeah.
Us as artists keeping CDs, it never happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We want someone to
I
take.
think you might have left it, you left it on
probably
the
did.
table, and then I was like, oh, that's mine. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do coke off this later.
or chuck it at somebody.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Dude, no, I cherish that thing, man. To this day, I love those guys.
Yeah.
So, dude, there was a story that we heard about
That you saved his life.
Yeah, that you saved my life. This was maybe you at least saved me from getting my ass beat.
Maybe could have been.
Because back in the day, like way back in the day, like 2003, 2004, I had been disrespectful to the Insane Clown Posse. There was something like I was trying to say they're not real clowns because I had gone to clown college, whatever. I was just out of my mind on drugs, just being a dickwad. And talking about, like, oh, man, like, you can come on stage, but they weren't wearing their makeup. They don't want to appear without their makeup on.
Right.
I'm like, oh, these guys, they won't come on stage, whatever. I was just being a dick. And so they decided that the next time they saw me, they were going to fucking beat my ass.
Try to jack you up.
They were gonna give me a thumping, and they showed up at the Rainbow and they said, "There he is. All right, man, there we go." And then they saw I was sitting with you. And they were like, "Oh fuck, we can't do that. Be Real's our boy."
Yeah, we go back, and we've done many shows with them, and many, different sorts of conversations that have happened. The history of Cypress Hill and ICP, and so there's a mutual respect there. So they saw you sitting there with me, and they were like, "No, we're not going to do that."
Yeah, I did. I love those guys now, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm full on hatchet man tattoo.
Hey, man, when we're young and on one, man, it just doesn't matter. Like, we don't think about shit. We're just going and doing, and we don't give a fuck who we offend or if somebody gets defensive or whatever. You know what I mean? We're just going. And then we realized later, oh shit, maybe we were being
Right.
dickish, right?
Oh, for sure. And I think that like whenever you pop off in some kind of celebrity way, I think there's growing pains involved. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you can't go from like nobody knows you and then everybody knows you and not like have some kind
Yeah.
of like acting out. Like
Yeah, there's for what we do, right? So like hip hop music, and for the lane that you came from, there is no school for it.
yeah.
It's all learning it as you go along. There's no guides, there's no teachers to tell you this is the way you should be going. Don't fuck around over here. And it's those growing pains, those bumps in the roads.
Yeah.
And fortunately for us, we've managed to go through all those bumps in the roads and all that shit
Right.
and still be here. And that's,
Is it different popping off? Like you guys popped off when MTV was like everybody was just tuning in to watch MTV or the radio, and like they didn't have cell phones, and you guys weren't so easily accessible to everybody. Like, what's the difference in stardom? Like in 2001 at the Rainbow Room when somebody sees you or going somewhere versus like now where you might be everywhere all the time. And you get what I'm trying to say? Like, is it?
Yeah,
What's crazier, to pop off in '98 or to pop off in 2021?
Well, dude,
it was harder to pop off then, but people
Yeah.
got more excited about
Yeah.
you back then because there was more mystery, that less accessibility to you as an
It
artist,
was like, oh fuck.
and all that. They had to sort of like treasure hunt
Right.
info or their way to
Right.
you. Whereas this day and age is like we're giving it to you, like, "Yep, here it is, motherfucker, right here.
Yeah.
You ain't got to find nothing.
Right.
It's right here."
Yeah.
And so I think some people still get excited and shit for artists, but it's not like it used to be because that mystery was a part of it.
Right.
When are they going to drop? Well, how are they going to drop it? And like there was a build up by record companies by putting out snipes and promotional pieces and shit like that. But it was all like like a roadmap to getting you hyped up about the artist or whatever product, right?
Mm-hmm.
These days it's boom, right in your face from the jump. Less mystery.
I feel like if somebody sees you guys now, they're like, "Oh, dude, oh my god, crazy! Can I get a selfie? Okay, bye."
Right.
Back in the day, they'd like follow you,
Yeah.
or like, dude,
Yeah.
let me just trip out on this guy for a minute because I'll never
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
to see him again.
I first started listening to Cypress Hill in '93.
Yeah,
Like
I-
when did your guys' first CD come out?
91.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
okay.
so you came on Black Sunday, probably
Yeah.
around that time.
Right.
Yeah.
And dude, I was a kid, man. I mean, shit, dude. Like, what? I guess I was 19 at that point, but how old are you now?
I'm 51 now.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm 47, and dude, we've been at it for a long
We've
time.
been at it a long time, man.
I just saw you outside. I'm like, dude, we're still going.
Look, you know what's a trip, man? Imagine if technology that exists now existed back in those crazy ass times, man. I mean, you talk about viral, because the shit that we were doing way back then
Right.
was just way off the chain, and in some ways we're sort of glad that
Right.
technology didn't exist back then, because some of that shit was just a little over the top. But
Yeah. Tommy Lee was telling us that, dude. He's like, man, we got away with straight murder.
a lot more people would be getting canceled right now for that shit.
Yeah.
Because the rules were different back then, and that, I think that's, the technology has put everything in your face, like, immediately, from if you're trying to be like, so as artists, when you become an artist and you get any level of run, right, any level of success, you're giving away your privacy, basically.
Sure.
That's the sacrifice. But
Yeah.
you got to deal with that, because that's a part of the game. And if you're trying to fight against that, it always works against you. You know what I mean? Like how some of the actors back in the day used to be like, fuck these paparazzis, and getting in their faces, and
Right.
throwing their fucking cameras, not realizing that if you just gave them a couple of seconds, they were going to leave you the fuck alone and be
Right.
cool with you. But the
Yeah.
more you were pushing them away, they were antagonizing you even more, because they know, oh, you don't want this shit.
Right. Plus,
And-
you're giving them better photos when you're freaking out on them.
Fuck yeah, man. And that's and that type of shit made it to where everything has to be a world star moment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A viral moment that they
Sure.
can catch. And those are the things that you got to deal with now. But, you got record companies who feel like maybe the album itself the promotion of the album or whatever the product can be a viral moment. And it's not necessarily like that for everybody. For like a Drake, yeah, you know, and guys like on that level, the minute they put something out, motherfuckers get excited in their face. There's no mystery, there's no lead up, there's boom, here it is, and instant reaction.
Yeah, these fucking surprise, like midnight, they just put out an album and it goes
Ballistic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's insane.
Yeah.
Before, you used to have to build up to that. Okay, the album is coming out in 3 months. We need 3 months of promotion leading up to. Where these days, it's like, psh,
Yeah.
here's the post. Let's go. And if you got a robust following that is, you know, that will engage, yeah, I mean, it's gonna blow.
Here's a link. Buy now instead of going to the warehouse or going to the
easy
Tower Records.
easy, a click away.
Now, dude, we've talked to a bunch of people in here, and for all the people I asked, hey, were you aware that there was a time when I was trying to become a rapper? And nobody remembers it. Nobody.
I remember.
Not only does B Real remember my rap career, he actually contributed to it, which is just so crazy, man. What a bro. Like, my friendship with him really is meaningful. And you know what else is really meaningful? The information that I get from my Whoop band. You guys who are regular listeners absolutely know what a fan of my Whoop band I am. And if you don't know what a Whoop band is, it's the most sophisticated fitness tracking device known to man. And I have the most exciting news about it. They're coming out with the Whoop Strap 4.0. And I'm inviting you guys to be the very first people to try it out along with me. Oh man, mine's going to show up in the mail any day now. And the new 4.0 Whoop Strap has way more information it's going to give you, like your oxygen levels, your skin temperature. I mean, dude, and it's smaller, it's smarter. The charger that slides onto it is waterproof now. Oh man, this is so killer. And if you've already got a Whoop membership with 6 months left on it, then you upgrade absolutely for free. If you're a new person to Whoop and you need to be on the Whoop game, then boom, you sign up, you get the band for free, and 15% off at checkout if you use the promo code steveo at whoop.com. That's WHOOP.com. And I mean, dude, this tells you everything that you could possibly want to know about your sleep, your recovery, how many calories you're burning. Like, it is just off the charts impressive, and I love it, and I cannot wait. So go to whoop.com and use the promo code steveo at checkout for 15% off and get on board with the Whoop 4.0, man. Yeah, dude. Now, let's talk about rap. Oh, dude, Be Real remembers. Be Real recorded a track.
Didn't we do something?
We did a track
something,
together, dude.
Yeah.
And dude, your verse on that fucking track we recorded was so dope. It was
Thank
so
you.
fucking dope, and just like everything I did on the track was just awful. But
I didn't want to give you no whack shit.
dude, you did it, man. Like,
He's doing a redemption album pretty soon.
I'm trying to do it. I'm trying to like get organized to do some redemption shit, and like whatever, just make it fun and funny.
Let
you
me know.
Dude.
Let me know.
Dude, I remember the track that you and I recorded. It was called "If I Died Today," and the whole the whole gist of it was, you know what, fuck it. If I died today, I killed it, man. I'm stoked on what I accomplished, what I was, and dude, I'm just trying to remember.
When Steve's writing a rapper, I always ask this question.
I really just appreciated the shit out of that you
Oh,
would
no
even
worries,
do
man.
that, man.
You know, we're boys, man. I had to give you that fire all day.
So cool.
When you're writing a song, what hits you first? I know it's different for everybody. Is it the lyrics, or do you have to hear the beat first?
Well, sometimes I'll get ideas without the beat, and I'll just sort of mentally store that away till something comes along that complements that idea. Like Rock Superstar, for instance, that was in my head for some years before we actually put that out.
Years.
Yes. And
Aren't you worried you're gonna forget it?
No. Well, with something that is like that strikes you heavy, like you know it's a good idea, you'll hold on to it and you'll remember it. And I was constantly like just waiting for the right music to happen. You know, Muggs gave me many styles of beats and different options to write to, throughout all the albums, and what I wrote was basically what I felt when I heard the music, right? So that's the other way I write. When I listen to the music speaks to me as to what I should be writing about, or what the concept about, or if it's just one of those rapper brag the shit, brag about yourself songs, because there's that too, right? But we've always tried to write cohesive songs that mean something and shit like that. So I try to go where the beat takes me, you know what I mean? But with songs like Rock Superstar, and there's a couple other ones, but that was obviously the biggest one that I held in my head for a while. It wasn't until Muggs came with that particular, bed of music that you hear as the song now, where I felt like that's going to be great for this idea here. So I did that, and at first it was just Rap Superstar. And Donnie Einer from Columbia Records, he was, one of the big wigs in the industry, period, says, think you need some rock guitars on that. And we're like, oh, okay, because you don't say no to Donnie. And Muggs went and put the rock guitars, but then he had the foresight to put the orchestral parts on it and made it like, it was like us being Led Zeppelin of hip hop in that, and with that song. That was our Kashmir.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's how we looked at it. Like, this is our Kashmir.
That's cool.
And so that was one of the ones I had in my head for years. Other stuff I came up with on the fly. Like Dr. Green Thumb, for instance. I got to the studio, heard that music, boom, Dr. Green Thumb, and I made that song in like 45 minutes, something like that.
What about the tune? Is it American Psycho? Was that with D12?
Yeah, that was D12.
Dude, that fucking track is so fire, man.
Yeah, they were killing it. Yeah, they had the idea, actually. They hit me up, and they were like, hey, we want you to do this chorus. And they sort of gave me an idea of what the song was about, and then like what they kind of wanted me to say, but like say it on my own terms, in my own way, and so that's what I did there. And I thought, man, that it is a fucking tight song. When I hear it, I took that and went and did a mixtape and put a verse on it with me and M.
Right, okay, because I remember like hearing it and then trying to look for it, and I was like, I couldn't find it.
Yeah, the one with my verse on it is from one of my Gunslinger mixtapes. I had
That's right.
Yeah, three volumes. I had 3 volumes. There was Gunslingers, there was Gunslingers Fistful of Dollars, A Few Dollars More, and something else. It was all the Clint Eastwood run, right?
That's what the problem was, man. I'm glad we got to the bottom of that, because I got to dig up that track, man. I love it so much.
Oh, yeah. And then people started hitting me like, how did that not make the D12 record? I'm like, well, I did it after. You know what I'm saying? They only asked me for a chorus, so that's what I gave them. If I had the foresight to just send the verse and be like, hey, I sent this verse too.
Yeah.
Just in case, remix style. But I didn't do it. I didn't want to like impose it and them, having to be like, I don't know. I mean, I know what I did there, but I don't ever want to force my shit on someone.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, if you don't want it, cool. So instead of sending it, I just held on to it and used it for my mixtape and was like, fuck it. We'll just go here.
Dude, it's unbelievable.
It seems like the shorter it takes you to write a song, the bigger the hit.
Sometimes, like, because you're feeling something in that moment and you have a certain momentum.
It's coming from the universe.
Yes, it's coming from somewhere else. It ain't coming from you. When it's like that, it's coming from somewhere else. You know what I mean? Like, for sure with Green Thumb, because with Green Thumb, it was a sketch I wrote for the radio show that I was hosting at the time, because we were doing a Friday night mix show, Eric Bobo and myself, called Soul Assassins Radio. There's a Soul Assassins Radio now from DJ Muggs on Sirius XM, but before that, it was on 92.3 The Beat FM here, when that was
Theo. Theo on the radio.
Yes, and Julio G was also on this station, right? So I would write sketches. So our mix show was like a Saturday Night Live with mixes, because we would do all the voiceovers, myself, Bobo, and our partner Quasi, who was our production guy, and we'd get all other artists to do voiceovers in these sketches. And so we wrote one in the sense of, it being like infomercials were big at the time. And so I wrote an infomercial style commercial for Dr. Green Thumb, a cultivator. And, it was based off of me and my boys growing weed, because we had always done that. We were pretty goddamn good at it. So, the nickname Green Thumb came from that, because you would see nurseries out throughout Los Angeles or Southern California with that green thumb, meaning you're good at growing weed, right? So that's the idea popped off from that sketch. When I get to the studio and I hear that beat, the sketch is in my mind on this beat, like, oh shit, this is the song. And I just start going in, and we end up using that sketch to that song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it all sort of just came together like out of nowhere. But when I got to the studio and I heard that beat, all the ideas for that song, along with that sketch, start rolling out. And 45 minutes later, it's laid and locked in. And I think I laid it at 10 in the morning on a fucking Thursday or something like that. And Muggs knew. He was like, this is the shit right here. B's gonna fucking slay this right here. And the funny thing about that song is that record company tried to get me to change it. They wanted me to switch the lyrics and make it more like an Insane in the Brain Part 2 or something like it. I said, no, I'm not going to change nothing. And we already got Insane in the Brain. And I'm like, why would I do that again? That would be redundant. I'm sticking with this. And they're like, radio ain't going to play it, but okay. It's a great song. And I'm, to this day, I'm glad we stuck to our guns, because it became one of our biggest songs in terms of our fan base, just that being one of the anthems. And it was a big hit in Europe, no less. We were tripping on that. And it sort of made its way into the pantheon of top Cypress songs. So like, just as a, to give you an indication, right? So we play Insane in the Brain, there's a pop that happens with that, right? People explode, they go crazy, it's nuts, mosh pits and, stage diving, all that crap, right? Fast forward to now, when we do Green Thumb, it's the same reaction. And they didn't think that was going to happen. They thought it was a waste of a song. And for me, that was like, it was something that happened organically, and it was the luck of the day, because who knew that was going to become my cannabis brand?
Yeah.
I had no clue. We always envisioned, being able to do this or that in the cannabis world, but we didn't know when, we didn't know how, we didn't know what we were going to do. We just knew we'd be a part of it somehow. But boom, that song became my entrance into, the cannabis industry. That's what was so special about that song. That's why I say it came from somewhere else, right? Because that song led me somewhere else other than music.
Weren't you,
so many years later.
Weren't you in the business of the vapes, like the vape machines before that?
Well, we had friends that would make the vapes, like the ones that you see now, like are the Volcano and stuff like that. Not the vape pens that people hit, but like the
bag that fills up.
Yeah. There was so many of them. I remember they brought. Okay, so like if you go get your car tinted, right? One of the things that they'll peel off old tints or dry the new ones is this fucking heat gun. And it's fucking a lot of heat that comes out of this. So someone said, okay, we're going to make a fucking, a vaporizer out of this fucking heat gun. We put it in here. It fucking, it blows up the bag. It was before the Volcano, but actually.
It only burns the crystals.
Right. It was like
there's no smoke.
Baking the crystals.
Yeah.
So there was that. There was the heat gun. And, who knows what kind of damage we were doing to ourselves with that fucking thing, right? And then you had the pieces that would heat up like it was like a fucking iron inside a box.
Yeah.
And you put the fucking tube in there with whatever flour you had at the end of that tube, and you would pull it. It wasn't like something that was, blowing it to you or exhausting out to you. You had to hit it. There was a number of them, and they would all make their way to me because... we're
Dr. Green Thumb. Dude.
Yeah. So I had a number of them, but like some folks made me some personal ones, and then there was ones they tried to sell in the market, but there was really no market for them because they were fucking illegal. And if a smoke shop got caught selling one of those back at the time, they risked their fucking their license. You know what I mean? So. There was a lot of them out there, though. There was a lot of people trying to make those fucking things. Now,
I remember.
Yeah.
I saw this documentary series on Netflix called Murder Mountain, which was like really fascinating.
Crazy.
About Humboldt County and how like when it was sort of the prohibition era of growing pot, all these people would go missing, and it was like super crazy. But the way that series played out, they almost made it sound like the marijuana industry was way better off before the legalization, because now like they tax everybody.
Oh, yeah.
They fucking all this regulation. It's like
Yeah.
impossible for these small farmers to make any money at it. Like,
Yeah.
do you have an opinion about like the legalization? Can we quickly stop to agree that Be Real is pretty much the coolest dude ever? You can ask the guy anything and he'll give you a completely honest answer. I love that. And you know what else I love? I love the fact that the Wild Ride listeners really seem to be pretty into having sex. Why? Because Blue Chew is a hit with the Wild Ride listeners. What's Blue Chew? Well, chewable tablets that have the same active ingredient as both Viagra and Cialis, except it's chewable and only costs a fraction of the price. What does that active ingredient do? It makes you hard as a rock. And evidently, the Wild Ride listeners like to be hard as a rock because it's a hit with you guys. And if you haven't tried it, why wouldn't you, man? It's a lot of fun to have an extra rock hard boner when you're enjoying sex. And you know what else is great about Blue Chew tablets? You don't have to go to some awkward in-person doctor's appointment. No. You go to bluechew.com and you consult with one of their medical providers right there on the website. It is super fast, super easy, and that is all you got to do to get your Blue Chew tablets and start having a really good time. You know what else is great? Is that I can get you an entire month's supply completely for free if you use the promo code steveo at bluechew.com. Yeah, dude, all you have to pay is $5 for shipping, and you got an entire month's supply of Blue Chew tablets for free. I mean, dude, come on. Let's enjoy rock hard boners and great sex. How does that sound? Because, dude, if you do that with the promo code STEVO, get the whole month's supply for free at bluechew.com. Not only are you supporting the podcast, not only are you going to be hard as a rock, but, dude, you don't even have to pay. Just $5 for shipping. So do that. Go to bluechew.com, use the promo code STEVO. And now, let's talk about legalizing weed.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that was something a lot of people worried about when it first became legal, because there was a lot of stuff that people didn't understand in the legislation that would eventually affect small businesses, independents, you know, mom and pop type of,
right,
you know, companies that were trying to come up. But nobody saw that. You know, everybody, you know, the folks that were deeply invested, they just saw legalization and they didn't give a fuck how it was going to affect the small guys, right? But in any business, when you're trying to legalize it, you're going to get regulation and you're going to get taxes. And that is the bottom line on any business. So that's the sacrifice that you know, we had to think about as people in the industry, that like, okay, if we're going to make this legit and make it legal,
we have to scale up.
We got to scale up, and we got to abide by this. Now, it's hard to adapt when, you know, obviously now you got all these regulations, you got to have these licenses and permits and all this, and that costs money.
Right.
You know, that affects your bottom line. And then now you got to produce on top of, you know, that you got to make up for what you just invested in there. Because if you don't got the capital, it's fucking tough to exist in that way. And I think the people that put the legislation together, they knew that, you know, and it's a lot of us that said it, that when it came, you know, those of us that had a strong brand and a strong name in the industry, we wouldn't be affected the same way.
Right.
And, you know, in some places I got shit on because I was talking about, you know what, we should wait to legalize this shit here because the legislation ain't in the favor of the small business owner. You know, it's going to wash you guys out. There's going to be this big ass wave. Whoever survives the wave is going to do great business, and there'll be a strong brand, and they'll be able to survive in what's coming when the corporate money comes in. Those of us that don't survive, we're just going to wash away.
Right.
We're going to have to sell our licenses and shit like this, right? And that's exactly what the fuck happened. So I could understand why some of those folks up there want to just unplug and not be a part of the shit. But if you're trying to be a legal brand or a legal retailer, you know, it is what it is right now. You know, it costs to make it costs to be in this business, but once you get it going and once you get your momentum and you know, like Cookies is a great example. I mean, you know, they started with one store and a huge hype on their name, and the expansion that they've had has been incredible.
Yeah.
You know, and we're pretty much right behind them in that, in terms of our
Right
expansion.
on.
We're about to, you know, push to open many stores outside of California. Now, here in California, we got 6. So, you know, it's all about trying to get your brand right and adhering to the fucking rules and regulations that and just operate the way you need to right now, so that they don't have an excuse to take your licenses away or to
Right.
you know, stomp your fucking brand out. Because I mean, realistically, I think, you know, our taxation here in California is very high, which is unfair. Like, there's no industry that gets taxed the way the cannabis industry does.
Wow, so on
Is it like
top of
20%,
already,
25%?
It's higher than that.
Yeah.
so, and
it's crazy.
California's already the highest, and then
Yeah.
with cannabis, it's
Oh
just
yeah,
even crazier.
there's no we get no reprieve, and realistically, cannabis sort of helped California through these times in the pandemic, because a lot of these shops were allowed to stay open as essential businesses because you know, for some people it's medicine. You know what I mean? And I would say the cannabis industry has held California up. I mean, it's revenue that it didn't have. I mean, even the entertainment industry was leaving California because it was too expensive to operate here
Right.
and do production here, so they go somewhere cheaper.
That's been going on before the pandemic
Since
too.
since way before the pandemic.
Yeah.
You know, so California needed the revenue, and yet our taxes are so fucking high. You know, I think they need to fix that. Well, I know they need to fix that, but that's a part of the shit. It's unfair to all of us. But imagine that, you know, people that have partners that are, let's just say, they're funded, that they have funds to make it through this wave. People that aren't funded, wiped.
Well, and plus too, like getting into the weed business, it's like a lot of these people were on the black market before and like, oh fuck, let's get legal.
Yeah.
And then they get legal, and then they're like, okay, cool, where's this money coming from? They're like, well, I can't really like document where it's coming from.
Yeah, and
so
some
they get
just don't want to
fucked.
pay the taxes
Right.
neither.
Right.
I mean, you're making all this money and you're not paying taxes. You got your overhead and you know what that is. Most of these guys know what their shit is and they know what they got to do to make X amount. But it feels good taking it all in and not having to give nobody nothing. But that's not the way.
It's like, great, how are
The
you going
game
to
is
fund
played.
this? Well, I can dump like 500,000 and okay, cool, can you document where that came
Yeah,
from?
where
It's
did
like,
that money
no.
come? Yeah. Because
Okay,
that's the
well.
other thing. Yeah. And at that, money ain't even taking your banks. You know, till it's federally legal across the board, banks aren't really going to take your cannabis money.
Indian reservations will though.
Yeah,
right? 'Cause they're not-
they will, but that's risky.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's risky. Any of that is definitely risky. But I mean, you got to do something. And so, you know, you
Open up a laundromat next door and watch the money.
Hey,
Dude,
Fucking A.
we had the craziest conversation with Tommy Chong, and I asked him like about how much more powerful marijuana has become since like, you know, like the 70s or whatever.
Right.
And he shocked the shit out of us saying it's not more powerful, it's the same plant it ever was. Like
no, well, look, I got to disagree with my mentor there. Sorry, Tommy. I got to disagree with that.
Oh, we were confused too. We were like, oh.
I mean,
are you
I
sure?
can agree that it's the same plant.
Yes.
But the technology and
Right.
the science, the understanding of how to like make
Right.
this a super plant
Sure.
has just advanced.
It's like working out, like for a human being, right? Before
In the 50s.
in the 50s, athletes didn't have supplements. You just know your basic food groups that you
Right.
should have, but there was no such thing as supplements.
Now there's TRT.
Now there's
You're just fucking
every fucking supplement in the world to maximize
Right.
and make your workouts efficient and work for you.
right.
Still the same person, blood, bone,
Right.
DNA, all that shit.
But it'll knock you out.
But
Right.
we'll knock you the fuck out because
Right.
we're
Yeah.
stronger.
You don't want
You know what I'm
to.
saying?
You don't want to put a 1950s NFL team up against.
today's
No.
team.
Right.
They don't have a chance.
Right.
As great as they were back then, they
Right.
were great with what they were dealing with at the time.
Right.
There's advancements in everything, right? So along with technology, you know, there's advancements in nutrients for
Right.
the plants to promote the different things that you need the plant to do for it to be what you want it to be, right? So they didn't have these things back in those days, and most of those dudes were growing outdoor.
Yeah.
You know, and now there's these teas that you could use for outdoor cultivation, where people were just, you know, some folks were just watering their shit, or home remedies and stuff like that. Now, you know, not to say that the dudes in the 60s and 70s, you know, some of them knew what the fuck they were doing, like pro. But when you think about how many of them there were, it was a small number. Most people were growing what we call today boof, stress weed,
Swag.
boo-boo, swag. You know what I mean? Shit that you wouldn't, commercial. Shit you wouldn't give to your enemy. You know what I mean? That bad. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so, yes, there's always been talented growers in every decade or since its existence. A few small talented groups in different cities, different states. But these days, there are more talented cultivators. Why? Because knowledge is out there. You know, you can find the way to do this shit right. If you got the money and you got the right place and you got the setup and it's clean and, you know, you got the right guidance, you could produce awesome cannabis. And there's more people doing that today than there was back in that day. And and the cannabis is definitely stronger because you have you have the technology and you have these supplements for the plants to make them better. So
the last time I bought weed was over like in 2013 on First and Alameda at the Arts. There's some dispensary right there, and they're like, "Fuck! It just came out 13% flower THC, and everybody's getting high as fuck." Now it's like 33% THC.
Yeah.
You're speaking in tongues after you take a rip. Like I couldn't handle that shit.
Do you have like a special like
stash.
low, like where you're like, okay, dude, I don't even want to take on the 33, but like for this morning, like I gotta get some shit done. I'm gonna go for some weaker shit.
Yeah, I mean, I think every cannabis brand has its very, you know, it's impactful shit, and the ones that you can function to. You know what I mean? We all have to have that, because if you want to sell to every type of consumer or connoisseur, you got to have it. You know, some that's like for the rookie, the novice, and something for the pro.
Right.
You know, and not only that, you have to have the right bud tenders that have that knowledge that can explain that to them. Are you a first-time user? Are you in the middle? Or are you, you know, fully blown professional?
Are you
connoisseur?
are you an indica or a sativa smoker?
Primarily indica, but you know, I've been doing a lot of exotics and hybrids these days. You know, so it's a mix, sort of both. Sometimes indica dominant, sometimes sativa dominant.
Before a show?
Oh yeah.
No, obviously, but before a show, indica, it doesn't matter. Or do you have a specific weed before a show?
It doesn't matter what it is. For us, you know, like, as long as it tastes good and the impact is there, you know, we'll smoke it before the show, whether it's indica or sativa. Primarily, we always smoked indicas because we used to be snobs about every other strain if it wasn't Kush, OG Kush, the real OG Kush. If it wasn't that, we wouldn't even fuck with you. You know, like, no, hold it. We'll smoke some of ours with you. You keep your shit. It wasn't until I'm gonna say maybe 10 years ago that I started smoking other flavors outside of OG, because, you know, one of my good friends, we had run out of weed in San Francisco on this tour, but I knew there was weed out there, but we could never find any good OG out there. Everything else, bomb, but you could never find some OG like Southern California OG out there. So I called one of my boys, JP from West Coast Cure. I said, hey, we need something. We just ran out. What do you got? Oh, I got Tahoe OG. I got platinum cookies. I got this, that. I said, you know what? Let me try those platinum cookies. I've been hearing about these platinum cookies, or just cookies, for the last 6 months at the time. And he was like, I got you, no sweat. And he brought it, rolled it up, and boom, I was like, oh shit, this is really good. And that opened my palate up to start smoking different shit other than OG. So like, I started smoking all sorts of different strains out there, and then the flavor boom happened where everybody's developing different flavors, different exotics, different crosses and shit like that. And to me, that's great, because I mean, we like options. It's like, if you just had one drink, would you be happy with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
You know,
I remember, like, way back in, you know, what it was, like 2003, 2004, 2005, we were filming Wildboyz, and this was just like travel to a different country every fucking time we go out. And there are certain parts of the world where I just knew, because they'll like fucking kill you if you get caught with weed there. It's, like
Yeah.
Indonesia, like like anywhere in
Singapore.
the Eastern Hemisphere. Yeah, like, and for those trips, what I would do is I would grind up a bunch of weed, put it in a condom, and tie it in a knot, and swallow the shit, and then fly
And then flush it out.
Yeah, and then I get to Thailand. I get to like we're India, and I'm fucking shitting it out and smoking it, and that's how I determine or like.
I mean, that's you taking it there. I mean, that's the only way that you're not,
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Safest way to travel.
safest way to take it.
Right, but it makes me wonder, did that rule out like large, like parts of the world for Cypress Hill tours? Like you can't like go.
Yeah, I think more than anything, it's in places like that. They, if a promoter tried to bring us there, they'd get fucked with just because our subject matter on
Right.
cannabis and then all the street shit that we talk about. And I mean, not so much political shit, but some of it is talking about, how authorities stomp down, obviously. A lot of us
Right.
that come from that, we talk about that. And anything that would give people a thought like to say fuck authority or
Right.
to do a thing that they consider an illicit drug, they ain't having it. So like places like that, they would never allow us to go.
Yeah.
Even if we wanted to go, we
Right.
wouldn't be allowed to go unless we were going to take out all those things in those songs, which we couldn't. It wouldn't be the same song.
Yeah, one tune. I'm a psycho.
Yeah, yeah,
Hi, we're Cypress Hill. Good night. Good to see you.
yeah. How I could just kill a man. I don't
Right.
even know how we would have to flip that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So some of these places, it just the subject matter of any of the songs just don't fly in some of the places, so we can't go
Right,
into these
I'm the
places.
same way with my shit, man. Like, like my tour, I can't go to like the Middle East and shit.
Oh yeah, no, we could
Right.
not go there.
Yeah, you're not going to be doing the double back and
Right.
Middle East
And
anytime soon.
I would love to go there, but I
Right.
know the type of shit we talk is not acceptable down there. At least from what I heard,
Right. On the street shit, like I've never thought of you as like just like watching YouTube videos, just getting ready to talk to you today. Like it was like I was like, wait, like blood stuff, like
Yeah.
gang shit.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I just never thought of you that way. Like
Oh yeah, I was running wild before we were making records. I was, I guess I was considered a badass kid. I was very to myself, but when I got involved with the gangs, I was pretty much a soldier, and within a gang, you have your own gang, So let's just say there's 200 of us, and we're from the same block, and we claim this block. This is our gang, right? Not all of us hang out, and not all of us get along the same way, but there might be 5 or 6 of us within that 200 that are our own circle, and that we hang tough and shit like that. And we always stood within our circle. I mean, we were a part of everyone else too, but we were the tightest over here. And for a time, yeah, man, I ran in this one circle within our set, as we call it.
yeah,
And we were running fucking wild. I mean, I got the name Be Real through, the gangbang life. Because before that, Sen and I, we've known each other before that. I mean, Sen sort of introduced me to the bangers that I eventually got down with. But I knew Sen Dog way before that because hip hop was always a thing for us. Like it was a hobby that we all, or something that we loved. It wasn't even a hobby yet. We started rapping and shit for fun, and it did become a hobby. But I sort of strayed away and got into the gangs. And Sen Dog and his brother Mellow Man Ace and DJ Muggs, they took it serious. They took the music serious. They were constantly trying to push to that. I was out there fucking, running really wild. I got shot, everything. And
you got shot.
oh yeah.
In the lungs.
Well, yeah. So we were. There was like maybe 5 or 6 of us. We were in another neighborhood, another blood neighborhood, but their neighborhood is constantly at war with these guys that are their rivals. They're practically neighbors. So walking through their hood, if you don't know their get down, you might get caught up, and that's what happened. We didn't know how heated their little war was in their own neighborhood. We were, oddly enough, going from one house to grab some weed to come back and party at the house we had just left from. But we didn't take We didn't take a strap with us, meaning a gun. And a car pulls up in front of us. They're all wearing blue hats. We're wearing red and shit. And so, as you can imagine, all the shit talking starts. And none of us are pulling anything out. And I noticed that really quickly. And I saw the fucking gun coming over the front seat. And then the fucking driver, the passenger had it. And he starts letting off on us. He hits one of my guys in the elbow. The bullet travels from the elbow and comes out and gets stuck here. They thought they killed him because of the way he reacted when he got hit. So they switched the gun, and they're trying to get me now. They take 4 shots, or he takes 4 shots on me. The 4th one ricochets off the wall. I run into it, so I could hear him tock tock tock, and then the 4th one catches up to me, boom, and I caught it right here on the side and the back. And I didn't feel my lung collapse yet. It was when I hit the corner and I looked to see if they'd gotten out of the car to chase us down with it, but they hadn't. They kept, they shot, they kept going. And that's when I collapsed because my lung had been pierced. I got hit with a .22 hollow point, still in me. Like there's a fragment here, and a fragment back there. So yeah, that was that happened on Imperial in Hoover.
Wow.
Did you know you got hit?
Oh, I knew it was. It felt like a Charlie horse.
When did that happen?
That was in 1986.
Oh, damn.
Maybe 85, 86.
Crazy.
I was 15, 16 years old.
Wow.
A lot of us at that age had gotten shot. I mean, a few of my friends at that age had just gotten out of YA, which is like a prison.
Juvie?
Yeah, it's a prison for youth that eventually are going to go to the real prison. Like, there's juvenile hall, and that's like a county jail for the youth. It's just basically, they're holding you till they figure out if you're going to YA or you're going to get probation or some shit like this, right? YA is the serious thing for the youngsters because
Okay.
it's
Youth
like
authority?
Maximum.
yes, because it's like a prison. Because it's like a prison. It's a junior prison.
Maximum
basically.
security juvenile.
Yeah, so some of my guys, that were my age and in my time that we were banging, they would get out from maybe the 6 months or the year that they had to do for whatever. And one of my homies came out. He had a big reputation as young as he was. He was known for being a shooter, and when he got out, they rode down the block, found him, and they killed him that day. I think he had been out maybe a week, if
Man.
that.
Jeez.
And that's how crazy it was. I mean, it was a war zone, man. Got to tell you.
Yeah, Ice Cube talks about going to YA and hit the hood swole.
Yeah, well, that does happen. He didn't do it. You know what I mean? Like, he was portraying things that he's seen in his life from friends. We've both seen that. You know what I mean? I actually lived it for a while, so I seen some of my homies come back like that. They go in skinny young kids and come back monsters. Monsters, ripped up 17-inch arms at 16 years old. I'm like, what the fuck? Because I never went to YA. I was fortunate enough to, be lucky to dodge. And that was hard for me because, I'm like a Spanish or a Latin or, however they want to call it today, Latino, whatever, in a black gang. So I'm easy to point out. I'm easy to fucking track down for whatever I do. So, whatever I did, I had to be very stealth-like. And I got lucky and didn't, have to get on that run. But plenty of my boys, they had to go do that time at YA. And some of them went from YA to prison. Like, they graduated, as we used to call it.
Jeez.
I remember getting the sense, like back in the day, hanging out, that there was like, something of a gang element that was like, in your like
in our circle,
like kind of circling around.
Yeah.
Like they wanted to be down. They wanted to like hang out and I remember a guy named Soldier.
Yeah, Soldier. He's still around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was my buddy Dreamer. I don't know.
Dreamer, yeah.
Oh my God, Dreamer's is he's still around?
I think so, yeah.
Dude, that's
see, that's
against
the thing.
the odds, man.
and see, that's the thing. When I got out of gang banging, people knew I did, and I never was one to like overtly tell people or show people like, oh, this is this and that gang, and as we call it, set tripping. When you're going out of your way to let people know. I never did that because for me, I didn't want to mix that shit into the music world because I knew it would be a short run for us. because you know, when you got enemies out there and now you're fucking flashing on them, you're gonna have a short run. You got a big target on your back, and you got to be constantly dodging that. So I let it all go, and I never had any problems with anybody that was banging on the other side after that. You know what I mean? I've always got along with any other artists that were actual gangbangers on the other side. Always cool, you know. No disrespect, never. But our crew that we roll with is comprised from people from different neighborhoods, who, you know, they might have been a Crip, and now I'm a Blood over here. Or he might have been a Mexican gangbanger or whatever. We all roll together. That's the dynamic of our crew, is that it's comprised of different folks from different streets here in California. So when you step to us, you're stepping to not just us. Right. And I think that's why no one ever really stepped to us like that. One, we never were with the chips on our shoulders, like, come fuck with us and see what happens.
I think that's well put.
You know, we were always just chill.
Right, for sure.
Was there a moment that you were like, I got to get out of this? Or did it just kind of trickle away in some way? Or like, how does that work?
When I chose the music, I knew that I could not bring the gang banging in. So I just had a talk with my close circle of homies and said, hey, I'm going to go do this. Go do it. Nice. Handle that shit.
Nice.
And it was as simple as that. It wasn't like I had to make a speech to 200 motherfuckers and like, hey man, look. They understood and they supported me and they had my back. And
the PowerPoint presentation. Why you need to leave.
This is what I'm gonna do in the next
my
10
business
years.
plan. Yeah.
And
now check your slide 3. We got
you know, and not for nothing. I mean, they knew I was trying to do something positive. And for me, I was indoctrinated in gangbanging. I wasn't trying to get out. I wasn't even trying to do the music anymore. Like, Muggs, Sen, and Mello came to me one day and says, hey, Mello's got a record deal. We need you to help us write some shit. Come back and help us write. And I didn't even think I could at that point, because I'd been so invested in the streets at that point. Like, what am I going to do? We ain't going to make no money doing that.
Dude.
Wow.
And they're like, well, what do you got to lose? And I thought,
you know, like... I want to be careful not to kiss your ass, but the way the fucking rap is, people, like, the sound gets popular and everybody's just sounds the fucking same. It kind of drives me nuts.
It happens now, today, still.
Oh, dude,
Absolutely.
More today than ever.
More than ever, yeah.
Yeah, more today than ever. And dude, I just love, like, how unique you've always been in your art. You know, like, and dude, you're. To hear you say that you doubted if you could write dope shit, it just confuses me, man.
Well, yeah, you know, because I hadn't written anything in a long time, and I most certainly didn't know how to write a song yet. I knew how to write raps. Like, I was good at writing. My delivery sucked. I wasn't that good, but they knew I could write, and they needed help writing. And so I came back and I did 2 songs for Mello's first album. I think it was River Cubanos and Tacapella or some shit like this, and they were okay songs. If you listen to them now, you're like, they're all right. But what it did for me was it made me realize that I could still do it. I could still write, and I got bitten by the bug. Like, fuck, the studio shit is kind of cool.
Super cool.
And you know, at that time he was working with Delicious Vinyl, so in and out of the studio would come Young MC or fucking Tone Loc, and they were cool with us. They were always very cool with us. They knew I was a gangbanger, so maybe that was part of it. Let's just be cool with this dude, because we don't know.
Certain politeness comes with that.
But you know, I always maintained respect no matter what. Even if there were a Crip or whatever, I never got out of pocket with anyone in the studio, because this was business. This is not that place for that shit. So I was always focused, and I was learning as I was going along there. But I found myself wanting to be in the studio more than on the corner. Yeah. And not because of the safety, because I didn't even think about that, because I was still strapping. You know, we were all like cowboys for like, I don't know, maybe up until maybe 10 years ago we stopped, like, you know, cowboying it. But like, we all of us, no matter who was with us.
So when we were sitting at the Rainbow.
Oh yeah.
Damn.
There was at least 5 guns. Always present.
I mean, I would believe that there were plenty of guns around you.
I had one on my hip every time. You know, I was a real cowboy in that sense, you know, because old habits die hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I realized I could not bring this shit. So, but for me, it wasn't the safety; it was the creative part. Yeah. Like, oh shit, I'm actually doing this, and this is stuff we thought of when we were you know, a few years back listening to Run DMC and this and that and the other,
right.
like, and so, you know, that's when I made my choice. I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this.
And I mean, to be fair, man, you guys fucking blew up, dude. Like on that Black Sunday thing.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
it wasn't like an accident that I started hearing. I mean, that shit was everywhere.
Yeah.
And back when there was so much money in music.
Oh, yeah. We had no clue it was going to blow up. We didn't know the first album would blow. We were just hoping that motherfuckers would like it. We liked it, and we thought it was different. And for a West Coast group, people took us for an East Coast group, you know, because everybody was trying to sound like, well, not trying to sound, but very influenced by NWA.
Yeah.
You know, and we noticed that on the West Coast, if you didn't sound like that, record companies weren't going to give you any run. And we didn't want to sound like that. In spite of my, you know, me being a gangbanger or coming out of that shit, I didn't want to sound like all this gangster rap shit that was happening, because we would not be different than anything else. And Muggs' style of production was definitely not that. It was more East Coast based, right? So we found a way to marry, you know, the East Coast and the West Coast mentality into this group, from Muggs into the experiences of Sendog and myself and all that shit, and melding it into what became our sound, what became our culture, and all that shit. And, you know, it was a slow going, you know, on the first album. It was like 6 months before anybody took notice to who we were, because we put out the single Funky Phil one and How I Could Just Kill a Man. Now, it was a double A side, meaning that the record company could say, this is the side we're rocking right here, Funky Phil ones. But it's a double A side. If you DJs want to flip it, it's all good. But they were banking on Funky Phil one because it's less controversial. It's not saying How I Could Just Kill a Man. And so they were banking on that, but it was going slow. And out of nowhere, one of the New York DJs, maybe even in the colleges, it might have been Stretch and Bobbito, they flipped the record and they start playing Kill a Man, and all of a sudden, boom, the momentum changes. People start talking about us. Naughty by Nature takes us on tour. They were our boys. And they heard our album and they knew what we were capable of. So they were like, we're gonna bring you on the road with us. They had the #1 single at the time with OPP. And then Kill a Man starts to catch on mix shows, and they pull us off the road, they as in Sony, pull us off the road to do the Kill a Man and Hand on the Pump video. And then Kill a Man explodes with the video. Chuck D and them, the Bomb Squad, are doing the movie soundtrack for Juice. They want to use How I Could Just Kill a Man in the pivotal scene between Tupac and Omar Epps at the end, where they're chasing each other through the club. And that shit blew that song like way the fuck up, you know, and we did not anticipate that. I didn't anticipate it. I did not see any of that coming in, you know, so it's the album's now catching momentum 6 months later. It had dropped off the charts, popped right back up. We were, I think we entered at 270 or 200 or one, no. We entered at 170, dropped off, and then we shot all the way the fuck back up. And when we were releasing Black Sunday, the first album finally popped up into the top 5. And as we released Black Sunday, we had a #1 album in Black Sunday and a #5 album in our original album. And no hip hop group had done that at that point. We were the first to do that.
Huge.
Yeah, I mean, so it kind of reframes the thought, I'd rather be in the studio than on the corner.
Fucking day, man. Like, you know, it was a time I invested in myself, in terms of, or instead of letting myself go deeper into this shit, because there's only, you know, three paths, maybe 4, as a gangbanger. Prison's one,
right?
The grave is the other. Life in a wheelchair, or you're smart enough to get the fuck out. And you know,
and that's not an easy task.
And that's not an easy task, because no one wants to hire a gangbanger to this job or that job. It's a hard run.
Well, right, and the gangs don't exactly just like give you severance.
Depending on who you are and what you know and what you've done, they don't always want to let you go, especially if you're somebody who is well respected in that world.
Scientology.
Yeah, if you're well respected in this life, where you call shots and people and other motherfuckers fear you, they don't want to let you go, because then other motherfuckers think, oh, they lost that guy. They're they might be kind of weak.
Right.
And you know, so those guys, they're hard pressed to stay in.
It's got to be tough to, like, you know, kind of coming from that whole scene, and then like you're like all over MTV, like, you know, like fully mainstream radio
yeah.
play, like celebrities left and right, you know.
Are you like, is this cool that I'm doing this?
Oh, you know, like it was all new to me. I was just sort of soaking it in, like this shit is unbelievable. I can't believe we're here. You know,
Right.
like through the whole first, you know, 5 years, I was just sort of like, are we really here? You know what I
And then
mean?
that
Like,
verse on the Stankonia, like
Oh,
in
yeah.
that was just a whole other heyday, huh?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. I was frankly surprised that they called me for that, because you know I didn't know that we were on their radar like that. I mean, we were mutual fans
Yeah.
of Outkast too, but you know, to get called up to knock one down with them, I mean, fuck, that was like,
I mean, it was incredible.
yeah, it
dude.
was. I got a platinum plaque for that fucking one, man. Salute to y'all for that. Thank you.
Shit.
Dude, it's so killer, man. And you know, like it's sort of like you know, unrelated, but I watched this documentary on Hulu about the Tekashi 6ix9ine kid.
Yes.
And what's so fucking shocking about that is that he had at the same time he had like 5 hit songs on the like Billboard 100.
Yep.
He's got all this money coming in, and he's just cutting people out of his business who are like heavy fucking shot callers
Yep.
in like serious fucking gang shit.
Yeah.
And like, just from my experience, when money's coming in, and then you tell someone, "Hey, you're off my team, man. I'm not going to commission you anymore."
Oh yeah, no,
And
that's
that was the most fascinating thing about that. How he thought he was gonna pull that off smoothly.
especially the dudes that, like, you know, at first funded him and put them under his
Right.
wing and gave him that protection. And you know, I'll say this, you know, in terms of marketing himself, whether you love him or hate him, he's a genius for
Dude,
how he flipped
absolutely.
that. In terms of the street shit, yeah, you know, he violated on many fronts. But you know, it's that situation is tough, because it's like, yeah, you know, he probably realized they were digging in his pockets in such a way that like he should have been getting more, maybe as an artist, and he felt like, nah, I'm getting all of this.
Right. It's
And-
crazy.
and,
And, you know, not to like even talk shit or anything. It was just it's a fascinating
Oh,
story.
yeah, it
that's,
is.
That's what I, you know, and I thought that documentary was really impressive too.
No doubt, man, it is, because it shows you the story of how he makes himself.
Dude, and kudos to the kid for being a fucking marketing genius.
Oh
man.
yeah, you know, like him telling on on his partners and all that shit. I mean, you know, that's for other people to judge. I mean, some people that are street folks are like, nah, that just doesn't fly. That's against the rules. Because if you're playing the game, then you know
Right.
what the possibilities are, and you have to be okay with that, and you got to man up. If you're playing in the streets and you're not going to adhere to the rules, then yeah, you're going to have that target on your back, you know what I mean? And he's got to forever live with police protection for right now, you know, or I don't know how long he's going to be under the witness protection or whatever, but
I don't know how well he does under witness
Yeah,
protection,
I mean-
or I don't know how effective that protection is.
well, he's okay for now, but he's a guy who now has had light and is used to it and wants it and
Yeah.
seeks it and can't let go of it for his own good.
It's addicting.
Right.
Because he keeps winning. Like, people that aren't gangbangers, aren't street folks, are like, well, yeah, so what if he fucking ratted those people out? I mean, they were fucking with him. They were getting
Right.
over on him. They tried to rob him. They tried to...
They pistol whipped
Yeah,
him.
they pistol whipped him. They don't get the commitment
Right.
you make in this life. They don't get that. They're just fans, and, you know,
Yeah.
God bless them. They, you know... Realistically, if you're a civilian, yeah, you don't adhere to those same rules. If you're in the life, you must. If you don't, then what he did that causes a target on your back happens, and that, you know, he knows that. That's
Yeah.
why he's living the way he is now. But it's I know it's eating him inside, because he can't be as free as he was in terms of going out and causing
Right.
a commotion and, you know, stirring up
I
the
think
base
the
and
tougher
shit like
part,
that.
the tougher part is, man, like you know, being exposed to the light, being like, you know, like acquainted with the celebrity and all the shine, but people won't fuck with him.
Yeah, and not for nothing, he had good songs.
Yeah.
You don't. that's the fuck shit. You know, like for as much as he annoyed people, he actually had talent.
Yeah.
You know, and he constructed his character and made it pop. As the street shit that he got caught up in, sort of, yeah, it taints all that for sure. But as an artist, he was doing his thing.
Yeah.
I mean, was it my cup of tea? I wasn't going out of my way to fuck with it, but when I did hear it, like, yeah, that's cool. He had some shit.
Yeah.
But it's just all the other shit. Can
Right.
you look past that? Can you accept that? And you know, my old self, in terms of where I came from, nah, that's unacceptable. That's fucking unacceptable, man.
Enough said.
Hey, real quick, let me ask you: who's your top 5 favorite rappers?
Uh-oh, is
I
that
usually-
a controversial question?
No, I usually narrow it to a 3, but I could go 5. So at the pinnacle, you know, and it could go in any order for me, but realistically, it should be KRS-One at the top for me. Eminem, Jay-Z, Rakim, Cool G Rap,
Ooh.
and
You know, I did a track with Cool G Rap for
one of
my
one of the sickest in the world, man.
And Steve-O.
Especially
Especially on
number
Poke
top
the Puss.
5, top 5, man.
Poke the Puss is your cashmere, dude.
I remember I brought Poke the Puss into Damon Dash's office and I played it for him. He said, "Well, I'm not going to say you're the next Jay-Z."
Oh my god.
Man, that's
yeah.
great.
So those are my guys right there, man. That
And just I think, like, you know, for talking about all the street shit and all the, like, that's just not who you are now. Yeah.
yeah, I mean that'd be a falsehood to be talking shit like I'm still out there gang banging and
Right.
you know living that life. I definitely ain't doing that shit.
And even when you were, I think you played it all pretty cleverly.
Yes, because here's the thing, right? And they do it more so now than they used to. But I mean, the feds and law enforcement are listening to everything you're doing. They're watching everything you're posting. If you're a hip hop artist, because some hip hop artists will tell on themselves in a song,
Yeah.
trying to be too graphic about.
Ghetto Quran.
I want to validate me by telling you some shit I did.
Right.
And you know, you might think, well, it's a song, no one's really going to take it serious. But guess what? The motherfuckers that are the law enforcement, they take it serious. And if there's a case pending on some shit you mentioned that sort of links you to
Right.
that, guess what? They're coming at you. So, you know, you can't, you know, you'd be stupid to tell on yourself and tell a story that is completely full of all truths. If you're going to tell a
Right.
story that did happen, you kind of you might want to shake it up a little bit, or not even fucking tell that story.
Right.
Because realistically, you know, you could put yourself or your boys or somebody in a twist for something you said that, you know, that needs resolution in terms of a case, right?
Right.
So yeah, man, you got some guys that just, they don't think about it and they'll put themselves in a fucking twist by telling on themselves. Other guys that are being really graphic and telling you this story as if it fucking happened yesterday, that shit is made up. They ain't
Yeah.
never lived that life. They ain't been one day through it, because you wouldn't be saying such a graphic fucking story that's true.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you'd be telling on yourself. It's called
Yeah,
dry
dude.
snitching.
Wow, we're learning so much today.
Yes.
Yeah, I love it, man. This has been so killer, man. I don't think we, you know, I think we're good to go, man. We don't normally go much more than an hour anyway.
All good, man.
Dude, what
Thank
an-
you for having me.
Brother,
Dude, what
what
a
an
treat.
honor, man. Dude, what an honor, dude.
Anytime, man. Anytime.
Like, just having you even follow me on Instagram's an honor.
Oh, come on, man.
I love it. I love it, dude. So we'll jump on yours. You do
Yes.
this shit every day?
Yeah, well, when I'm not on tour, we do the Dr. Green Thumb podcast live Monday through Friday. So,
Wow.
yeah, I mean, I've been doing it for 12 years now.
Unbelievable.
We started, I don't know if you remember the streaming service called Stickam. It was a rival to the other one, Ustream, right? And Stickam, you know, we got in with some people down there, and they would feature our it wasn't known as a podcast back then, but it
Right.
was just a live
Some
stream.
Tom Green Webavision shit.
Right. And I was like pretty much one of the first so-called celebrities on there, like actually streaming, you know, fucking Monday through Friday. And we sort of took that format from there and just applied it to what we are doing today, because Stickcam eventually went away. But we built our platform to keep going in case they went down, so that we didn't have to go to a Ustream or anywhere else. We used live stream for a time just to use their player, but yeah, man, I mean, we've been doing this a long time. We used to just do post first, you know what I mean? We were doing filming it and you know, doing all the edits and then putting it up. And then we felt like it would be better to engage live, because we have our chat room there, and we heavily engage with them. They ask questions at the end to us, or make comments or give shout outs, and you know, it's a fun fucking time, man. I swear, like, you know, building the platform, it took a while, but I realized from doing radio that this was another version of that. Yeah. It's not necessarily the radio, but because they're getting to see you now, but it's sort of the same. So I decided that I'm going to take this shit serious, and I'm going to make it a schedule rather than something I do once or twice a month.
That's epic, man.
You know, so it's been growing, and man, it all started with the smoke box.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, because the smoke box, not everybody wanted to get in. They were afraid, right? If you're not a smoker, they don't want to get in. And if they're kind of a smoker, they're afraid of getting too lit. So I created the Dr. Green Thumb podcast so that people that didn't smoke could come sit in. Even if we were smoking, they didn't have to, you know, it's optional.
Yeah, so I apologize for
don't apologize for nothing. That's why we made this show, so that because we have friends.
I can't breathe this shit in, man.
I know. So we have, you know, we have friends like same thing, right? That like they want to come in but they can't smoke, and so we made the show optional for people that if they wanted to smoke or didn't want to smoke.
I was touched by the offer to have your personal joint roller roll me a joint.
Did you put out a Craigslist ad for that, or how do you find a personal joint roller?
I you know, like the guys that came in to work for Be Real TV from day one, I taught them all how to roll. So they've become expert rollers, and now they're trying to hold their own classes and call themselves experts. So, you know, hey, Dr. Green Thumb University, come sign up.
I love it, dude.
Dude, I love it, man. Well, dude, thank you so much, and I'm stoked to jump on your thing. Hey, let's turn this one around and make this one next.
Okay.
Yeah, dude, that was like so dope, man. Be real, just such a bro. And you know what? I wanted just say thank you guys, not only for sticking around to the end of the episode like I always do, but thank you for supporting like the sponsors of the show, man. I mean, dude, the fact that we are able to do this and just like get behind these companies that we dig, and you guys obviously are digging it, man. Like, and I just want to say thank you, man. Thank you for supporting the podcast by getting behind the sponsors of the podcast. I mean, hey, man, life is good, dude. And I'm stoked. So maybe I'm going to fucking chew up a blue chew and do some fucking.